Awesome. Welcome everyone to the 2020 Tiger Global Case Competition ANZ Regional Round. TGCC is powered by Crimson Education with Tiger Global Management as the principal partner and PwC as our official sponsor. A big thank you also to Acsl as a sponsor for a couple of our regional rounds. My name is Jamie and I am an academic advisor for Crimson Education. I'll be your host along with Andrew, who you'll see shortly from Crimson Education's Australian team. Congratulations to everyone presenting today on being a regional finalist in the largest online global high school case competition, TGCC 2020. And thank you to all students who registered. 2020 was our most competitive year with over 2,500 competitors, 600 teams, and over 10 workshops and exclusive webinars.
Crimson has powered TGCC from day one, as we believe it is imperative for ambitious students to have outlets to practice their practical skills in high school to give them a competitive edge. And that is exactly what we do at Crimson. We support students in achieving their educational aspirations and going to their dream universities. Today, the top 10 teams from the ANZ region will present their solutions for the ACSL case, and these students have had 7 days to work as a team to crack the case. We are looking forward to seeing what's going to be presented today. And we have our expert judges today, Dina, Scott, and David, and they're all raring and ready to go. Thank you once again for judging the ANZ region. So without further delays, let's get started with our first team.
Awesome. So we'll let in our team now. I'll just wait for them all to join in a second. So the first team that we have is team 95. So we've got Ryan, Lachlan, Eric, and Giancarlo with us. Can we just make sure that we've got the full team here? Can someone speak on the behalf of the team to make sure everyone's here?
Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone is here.
Welcome. Best of luck to team number one. Just a couple of things before we start. Feel free to turn on your cameras when you're ready. So what's going to happen is you'll have a 2-minute buzzer kind of thing, and that's going to be through the chat. So Andrew is going to message in the chat at 2 minutes to go. So you'll have 2 minutes left, and then he'll also give you another notification with 30 seconds to go. So please keep your chat open so you can see this. He doesn't want to interrupt you when you do your actual presentation. And we'll just make sure, are all of our judges ready for team number one?
Yep.
We good?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, Andrew, would you like to start the timer? Ready, team? 3, 2, 1, good luck.
Good afternoon, esteemed panelists. My name is Eric, and my team and I are coming to you from Melbourne, and we are so excited to share our solutions with you today. We'll begin with an exploration of some appropriate courses of action for ACSL. Next slide, please. Our presentation will be predicated on the foundation that there are 2 fundamental problems facing this company. These issues pertain to the company's current inability to reach its maximum production capacity and their limitation to a small range of markets. In order to address such issues, we have devised a series of solutions that will serve to enable the company's ability to achieve mass production and global expansion. These objectives will be achieved through specific mechanisms, such as a potential joint venture, modifications to ACSL's current system of operations, and expansion into the Indian, Australian, and Moroccan markets. We are very excited to share all of this with you today, and I'll pass on to John to speak about some improvements to ACSL's current system of operations. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Eric. We suggest that ACSL adjusts their business model to mass produce the refined air slider model with thermal imaging, 3D modeling, and pressure gauge capabilities. This will keep production costs low and make the product more attractive, which will make the entry to expansion easier and creates a competitive advantage in the expansion markets. The modifications to the model mean that the research and development stage is shorter, and it enhances its capabilities as a water inspection drone. On the right-hand side here, you can see the timeline. In the first year, we would be refining the air slider model, then beginning mass production in 2021 and entering the markets in 2022 while looking for potential clients. Next slide, please. Focusing on mass production and efficient research and development, ACSL should look to a joint venture with Tata Consultancy. TCS is a multi-billion-dollar company which leads international markets in consulting, research and development, and manufacturing services. Assets, income, and expenses will be divided. However, it will be very beneficial for us by reducing the risks of entering a completely new market, despite the fact that profits could be affected. I'll now pass it on to Eric. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Jan. I'll now walk you through our proposed expansion plan into India. According to PwC, India is the fastest growing UAV market in the world, with more than 600 million Indians having inadequate access to a reliable source of clean water. India is facing a devastating infrastructure crisis. Faulty pipelines has led to mass water mismanagement, pollution of pipelines, and consequently, the country's water supply crisis. In response to this, the Indian government has passed legislation encouraging large corporations to implement water efficiency policies. Incentives in the form of tax rebates have been offered to companies that implement these policies. This is where ACSL enters the picture. Our refined air slider model will be offered to these companies, traveling through these pipes to locate defective features and prompting corrective action to be taken. Next slide, please. Now let's take a look at the logistics of entering this market and some risk management strategies that can be implemented. Some risks to ACSL may include failing to gain market share as a result of being too late to the game, or losing potential customers to competitors that offer UAVs at a lower price. In order to inform you of how we propose to avert these risks, I would like to direct your attention to the timeline. Across the next 2 years, ACSL will be concentrating its efforts and economic resources on research and development. This will serve to produce a refined air slider model, the only one capable of traveling inside pipelines, and this is our competitive advantage over our competitors. It will effectively make competing technology redundant in this market, and it is with this that ACSL will be able to increase its market share dramatically, taking advantage of this market that is growing at a compound annual growth rate of 13.8% and increasing. I'd now like to pass you on to Ryan to talk to us about our proposed Australian market expansion.
Thanks, Eric. ACSL should look, next slide, please. Thanks, Eric. ACSL should look to enter Australia as they suffer from water scarcity, being the driest inhabited continent in the world, and at the same time, having the second highest average water consumption per person. ACSL can capture the demand to be water efficient as their drones can inspect pipes to prevent possible water being wasted, and it is believed that 90% of stock and domestic water is wasted through evaporation and leakage. Upon entry into the market, ACSL should look to partner with the federal government, focusing on pipe inspections in and out of the Murray-Darling Basin, as this is the lifeblood of Australia. It contributes to a massive 70% of national agricultural water, with 40% of Australia's food grown using it, and around 3 million people rely on it. To make the market as profitable for ACSL into the future, they should build on their strong brand identity and expand into the private sector. Could you move to the next slide? Thanks. The timeline here on the left shows a potential roadmap for these developments, explored on the last slide. The critical risk for ACSL's entry, could you just go back? Go back again. Yeah, here. So here, the timeline on the left shows a potential roadmap. The critical risks revolve around the Australian government not wanting to partner with us, and we can mitigate this risk by offering to place production in the local community, providing jobs and growth for the area, such as Geelong. If this doesn't attract the government, we could enter the private sector first, as Figure 2 demonstrates. The second risk is the already concentrated market and competition in Australia. However, saying that, we only see 3 large companies which provide pipe inspection drones, and furthermore, ACSL has a point of difference with a lower unit cost and the 3D modeling and pressure capabilities. Now Lachlan will talk about a Moroccan expansion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Our team will now address ACSL's third and final potential expansion into the Moroccan market, as they have been named as one of the top 25 most water-stressed countries in the world. As a result, we can identify a clear demand for the air slider drone to ensure efficient water management across the country, where water needs to be used to its fullest, namely in irrigation systems that provide various agricultural produce and benefit the country's economy. ACSL would benefit through obtaining partnerships with the Moroccan government due to their need for such a drone and how ACSL can provide it. There is certainly an identifiable risk in this, where the government may not agree to a partnership. Although this can be overcome through entry into the private sector of the market, such as water management companies and more. ACSL does not have any known competitors in Morocco, which makes it even more beneficial for ACSL to fill this gap in the market. Although ACSL would have to make this a priority due to the possibility of a more widely known company filling this gap faster, such as DJI drones that have already been used amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Next slide, please. Furthermore, after expansion into the Moroccan market, ACSL can foresee future potential success due to the government's reliance on water in their economy, and therefore their society, showing how important they are through the implementation of irrigation systems in the country. We have seen a clear success of irrigation systems towards agriculture. Just to name a few, a 166% increase in agricultural productions on farms less than 5 hectares in Tadla, and a 312% increase in Dukala. After expanding in Morocco, ACSL can look to expanding continentally, where they could provide for other countries within Africa that also suffer from water scarcity and hence also have a need to use water efficiently. Through this, ACSL was also able to address the issues in household water systems, where only 50% of household plumbing systems are in regulation with the law, causing potential for contamination in household water and can lead to disease and illness. I now direct you to the right side of the screen, where we have outlined the expected expansion into Morocco via a timeline, beginning with the completion of the air slider drone this year until 2025, where we can look to expand even further. I now pass it to Ryan to talk about financial projections and conclude the presentation.
Next slide, thanks. Yeah, here. Now, thanks, Lockie. We were conservative with these financial projections due to the volatility of the current economic market we're in. Nonetheless, we still believe these figures are attainable and ACSL should be happy with them. 2023 and 24 will be the most fruitful years as acquisitions are made and ACSL acquires new clients in expansion markets. We came up with these figures on the basis that the model will be sold for 2 million yen per unit in each target market, and each market has 2 to 3 companies that buy 3 drones each, and then governments in Morocco and Australia buy 5 drones plus an ongoing service and maintenance. With strong projected growth into India, Australia and Moroccan markets, ACSL should be confident in their future. What you'll find unique about our solutions are not only they increase ACSL's profitability and influence across the globe, but we have sought to bring alive the company's vision to maximize societal good. It is with this, we thank you for your attention and invite you to ask some questions. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks team, perfect timing. We have question time from the judges now.
Yeah, I can jump in.
I think David's on mute. He was going to jump in there.
Yeah, David here. In the improvements that you say about the air slider, in that questioning it says the CFO said this development is going to take 3 years. You say 1 year. Why do you say it's only going to take 1 year? Because it's going to be absolutely key to your development.
I'd like to thank David for his question, and to respond to it, I would say that after having listened to the CFO of ACSL explain the process of research and development, we began to gain an understanding about the process and the stages at which research and development happens. So the air slider model is projected to already be released in September of 2020. We plan to have it ready for use in 2022. Now, this has already undergone 3 years of research and development. We have said that we'll spend an additional 1 year because this will serve to improve it and make it bend to our will for this specific purpose. So while we acknowledge it takes about 3 years of R&D to prepare a model for release, there's already been 3 years. We plan to spend another 1 to 2 to make sure that we make it even better.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a question. First of all, I wanted to say thank you very much. Excellent presentation. A lot of research and work has gone into this. It's very well thought through. So well done to all of the team on that. I particularly loved your mass production proposal. I thought that was very smart and well thought through as well. My question to you was in relation to your Australian expansion proposal. As part of your risk mitigation strategy, you did propose entering into the private market sector if government partnership was not possible. Do you have a rough idea of the size of the private versus the public market in Australia?
I'd like to thank you for your question, and Ryan is our expert on the Australian market, so I'll refer you to him.
Yeah, thanks. So the federal government, so in Australia, there's around 6 state and territories. So the federal government oversees them. So that's where we suggest ACSL go to first. But then with the private sector, there's around 3 to 4 large water companies in each state that we could target, such as Melbourne Water in Victoria, where we could provide the air slider model to inspect their pipes and ensure that no water is being wasted. I hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and just one question from me. Thank you, as Dina said, for the presentation. It was excellent and clearly very well researched. I was just interested, you've identified 3 very different countries with different cultures, different languages, different parts of the world. What do you think ACLS will have to do differently in order to be able to operate in each of those countries? And do you think that the company is currently configured to do that?
I'd like to thank Mr. Thompson for his question, and to respond to it, I'd like to refer to one of the biggest objectives that we presented in this presentation, and that is mass production. While ACSL does specialize in making custom-made drones for their clients, we believe that with our research and development put towards the air slider model, we'll be able to produce a drone that will be able to have a replicable purpose across many different applications. Now, Mr. Thompson, I understand that you have a bit of a background with infrastructure and utilities, and so you would probably understand the growing application of UAVs. And what we propose is to take advantage of this, as well as our proposed advancement towards mass production, so that we can make a replicable model across each of these markets.
Furthermore, onto what Eric said, that's where Tata Consultancy will help us come in. So they have a lot of experience in expanding into different international markets. So to deal with the culture and the policies and interactions with the governments and different corporations in the separate countries, that's where we believe the joint venture with Tata Consultancy is really important.
Awesome, thanks team. We're out of time for questions now. So great presentation, great with your questions as well. We'll move on to the next team. Do make sure to come back at the end of the day when we have the winners announcement. So thanks so much for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, now we've got the next team. Do we have the next team waiting, Edith?
Yes, we do. I'm going to admit them now.
Awesome. Hello and welcome to team number 2. So ID number 109, we've got Desha, Madeline, Trisha and Sharon. Welcome to all of you. I hope you're all being able to join okay. It looks like you have. My name's Jamie, I'm hosting this at the moment. So just to quickly let you know, you'll have 10 minutes. There will be a notification 2 minutes to go at the end that you'll receive through the chat. So please keep your chat open so you can see that 2 minutes. And then we'll also have a 30-second. When you have 30 seconds left, Andrew will let you know in the chat as well. So keep your chat open, followed by questions after that. So best of luck. You have 10 minutes starting from now.
Yes, so good afternoon, panel judges. My name is Maddie, and I'm joined today with my teammates Sharon, Trisha, and Disha. We are from Melbourne, Australia, and today we'll be presenting our strategy for ACSL's global expansion. In our approach, we created logical and innovative solutions tailored to ACSL's strengths. Next up, we have Sharon with her executive summary on the next slide.
Maddie. So our task in this case was to create a global expansion plan to establish a strong global presence in the commercial drone industry. We have three key umbrella areas of focus featured on second tier, which we have further refined into specific recommendations to increase profit and profile across the globe. So under warehousing, we have expansion through the Japanese logistics industry and entering the growing e-commerce market in India. Regarding agricultural R&D, we're planning on partnering and expanding in the Asian and US regions. With HR systems, we're really seeking to leverage our current connections and create new ones in order to target and facilitate business in different regions around the world. Up next, we have Trisha with the key insights. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Sharon. So specifically to ACSL, through a Q&A session with the CFO Kensuke Hayakawa, we came to understand that steps 3 and 4 of the business model are highly scalable. ACSL also has existing links to Singapore and the US, which will also provide beneficial in our global expansion. In Asia specifically, this will allow them to support sales and recruitment from the hub of Singapore, all which prompted us to think of the bigger picture when brainstorming our strategy. Some other things to take note of is the current annual growth rate for the global drone market, which is 13.8%. In addition, the Japanese government recognizes that the increasing tensions between China and the US may pave the way for domestic companies to break into a currently over-dominated market. As a result, they have initiated new legislation that will offer domestic drone makers preferential treatment for financial support. Also, due to COVID-19, new rules and regulations have come about, bringing also new opportunities for the drone industry, which will be further explored in our presentation. As you can see on the right, our viral analysis, we have highlighted that ACSL's competitive advantages lie in providing highly customizable solutions and level 5 autonomous drones. These are the capabilities we have focused on when coming up with our strategic solutions. And with this in mind, I'll hand over to Sharon, who will be introducing our first recommendation. Next slide, please.
For sure. So when brainstorming potential recommendations, we firstly considered extending upon existing solutions, such as the drone delivery, inspection, and infrastructure solutions that ACSL currently offers. However, we concluded that it would be best to capitalize on the massive potential in the emerging use case of the warehousing sector for two main reasons. First, current demands of the market. So trials conducted by logistic companies in recent years prove that there's a demand for commercial drones in warehousing. There's also less restrictive regulations for drones indoors, as well as more stable weather conditions, which makes drones a more viable option. Second, features of our drones, such as this fully autonomous nature and capabilities to operate in GPS-denied locations, supports a wide range of practical applications, as listed on our slide, and a major one is inventory management. And this leads us to recommendation 1.1, building a strong presence in the global logistics industry, starting off in Japan. So global 3PL companies such as Nippon Express and KWE provide a range of transportation, storage, and distribution services. And this can become a major source of sales for ACSL in the present and into the future when we integrate our drones into their business operations. This is because they have hundreds of centers around the world. And after experiencing the benefits of high productivity and reduced management costs in their warehouses, they'll be more inclined to integrate our drones throughout the different stages of their supply chain services. Next slide, please.
So recommendation 1.2 is in the e-commerce market, which is closely aligned with the logistics industry. So why e-commerce? Well, it's no secret that it is growing rapidly due to the ease of use and accessibility, also more so due to COVID-19, which has seen an increase in online traffic, even surpassing the busiest Christmas periods. E-commerce is also the driving force behind the growth in warehouse automation, which will more than double in expected total sales to $27 billion by 2025. With this extra growth comes extra demand, leading to increased labour challenges and capacity constraints. ACSL's unmanned drones are favourable in this sense, as they can be fully integrated into existing operations to increase efficiency. After considering some of the fastest growing e-commerce markets in the world using a pest analysis, we decided on India for a variety of reasons. However, the main being that as a result of its digital transformation, updated figures from an industry report show that the Indian e-commerce market is expected to grow to $200 billion by 2026, placing it as the fastest growing e-commerce market in the world, even surpassing China. Therefore, we recommend ACSL enter this market in India to confidently establish a global presence. I would be happy to answer any specific questions regarding our pest analysis during our Q&A. However, now I would like to hand it over to Disha, who will be introducing our second recommendation. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Trisha. I'll be outlining a second area of focus, R&D agriculture. As the human population is steadily increasing, the need for food and harvesting is only growing, which is demonstrated in the projection that the global agricultural drone market is expected to reach $9.28 billion USD by 2027. I'll be happy to answer questions about the regions not chosen for agricultural expansion in the Q&A session. The two regions that show the greatest potential for agricultural drones are the US and ASEAN regions. Many countries in the ASEAN region have approximately 15% of their GDP belonging to the agricultural sector. Myanmar's rice production and Indonesia's palm oil sector show strong potential of customizable ACSL drones in mapping and crop spraying. The ASEAN regions also have a relatively untapped drone market. The little competition shows great potential for ACSL to get their foot in the door and be at the forefront of drone development and customization in ASEAN. The agricultural sector in the US is the largest in the world, contributing $100 billion USD to the US economy. Despite a saturated drone market in the US, increasing political tension between the US and China opens a door for ACSL. Next slide, please.
Yes, so following on from that slide, the specifics of recommendations 2.1 and 2.2 involve ways to expand the ASEAN and US markets. In the ASEAN market, we believe that ACSL can improve on the current working conditions. Thus, our first steps would be to reach out to large agricultural clients to form partnerships with them. Subsequently, our company would create a training program for ACSL employees to help assist these regional farmers and boost customer loyalty. Our second branch, as you can see, is a process to attract new US clients for potential long-term deals. It would be ideal to partner with one or two startup agricultural brands, potentially creating long-term contracts. We will begin trials on producing customizable drones, and overall, we would finalize these drones for clients to use individually. Overall, these steps are integral to enhance the current R&D model of the business. Sharon will now provide our final recommendations on HR systems. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Maddie. Yep, so this section has been split into two. So firstly, recommendation 3.1. The importance of building upon existing relationships in Asia must not be neglected during global expansion. And ACSL will be able to grow successfully in utilizing these relationships to Japan and Singapore. So using Singapore as a hub, we'll be able to create regional teams in the Asian region and provide a more personal level, which will allow for optimal customer experience. Secondly, recommendation 3.2. So creation of new connections is focused on building teams and structures to support global expansion. A global HR team will be dedicated to sourcing the talents of highly capable team members from across the world and will help propel success in every region. And further, a focused marketing team will be able to use their expertise in the characters of different markets will enable ACSL to better target and appeal to these markets. And up next, we have Maddie with the financials on the next slide.
Thank you, Sharon. In this table, we have projected short-term sales from past performance data. If ACSL captures 1% of the growing warehousing and agricultural industries, it would amount to a significant generation of sales. The graph on the right features the projected long-term sales by 2030. However, we must note that a large expense ACSL must consider are the trials from customizing drones in R&D. Disha would cover the risk and mitigation summary on the next slide.
As we know, with every idea and opportunity comes a risk. The main risks relating to each area of focus have been identified and mitigated by our team as shown here. Overall, risk can be mitigated through thorough patenting and trademarking, partnering with startup US agricultural drone companies, and employing individuals on a short-term contractual basis. I'll pass it on to Maddie to take us through the final timeline. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Disha. We've implemented a 10-year timeline from 2020 where ACSL can expand to various global markets. Following from the slide, from 2020 to 2024, we aim to further expand our client base with a specific focus on warehousing and agriculture. Subsequently, partnering with startup agricultural companies in the US, such as Aerobotics and Gamia, will help popularize their name, breaking into other markets across the world.
Once the R&D stage into agriculture is complete, over the years 2025 to 2028, we aim to finish all 4 steps for the agricultural drones, as well as develop a strong clientele base in the warehousing and logistics industry. By the year 2030, final implementations of the drones in both the agricultural sector and warehousing industry are aimed to be complete, allowing clients to individually manage and handle their personalized drones. Overall, with our outlined strategy, ACSL will be able to successfully...
Thank you so much, team. I'm going to have to ask you to stop there. We now have time for questions. Please keep answers concise and then you'll be able to answer more questions.
Hi everyone, it's Dina here. I just wanted to say congratulations. What an excellent presentation, very well researched and thought through and presented. So well done, I commend you for that. I particularly loved your solution around the HR systems. I think that's such an important piece when you're expanding into other markets and other cultures. So well done on identifying that. My question for you today was in regards to your warehouse expansion strategy into the Indian market. So it was identified as part of the brief that that's a country where there are political sensitivities in particular. So I was wondering how you plan to overcome that.
Yeah, so we actually researched that, and political India and Japan ties are actually been further solidified following the recent resignation of Shinzo Abe and the new appointment of the new Japanese Prime Minister. And he actually reassured in a recent Medium article that India and Japan will continue to have strong ties. And just at the end of August this year, India and Japan have signed a logistics support pact that allows for their closer cooperation, not only militarily, but also in order to facilitate reciprocal provision of supplies and services within two countries.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
We have time for one more question. David, it looks like you've got your hand up.
Yes. I wanted to question how realistic your financials are, in particular in the years 2021, 2022, 23. I see significant expansion occurring, but it doesn't seem to be going to have much effect on your profits. Whereas I would have thought the investment that you're going to require for in effect 3 market expansions is going to be significant. So how are you getting this revenue growth that you're proposing with these significant costs?
Yes, so I could answer that question. We expected a 1% market share of the agricultural industry to equate to $57 million in sales from agriculture by 2025. And in 2027, a 1% market share of warehousing industry would equate to $45.5 billion in sales.
Yep, so just adding on there, we did the best we could with kind of like the resources and what we found on the internet, because we're not actually like experts in this. So we used the, the past performance that was given in the case, as well as just kind of the figures of the compound annual growth rates for specific markets, as well as, as well. So when we were choosing the 1%, we're thinking if ACSL could achieve this 1% at a minimum, that would equate to a lot of sales revenue for them. So in this graph, you can see like it only starts to really pick up after a few years after our recommendations are put in place. And as well as having our HR structures, we're hoping to gain connections and make new ones overseas to attract more investment into our business. So our focus on HR is about creating connections and having bases set up overseas, which will attract a lot of attention as well, hopefully, and a lot of trust into our business as one that is able to provide viable drone solutions in the different industries.
Yeah, sorry, could I just add one quick thing? So basically that 1% was just a way we could quantify our goal and just have a better understanding and clearer goal for also you guys to understand where we're coming from with our strategy. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks team. Awesome work. So make sure to come back for the announcement of the winners. That will be at 2:50 Australia time, 4:50 New Zealand time. So thanks again for your presentation and we'll see you later this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Have we got the next team waiting?
Yes, we do. Are we ready?
Yep. Bring them in. Awesome. Welcome to team 3, ID number 113. So we've got Michelle, Caitlin, Vivian and Santhushi with us today. So welcome to all of you. We will start your timer very shortly. Just a reminder that you have 10 minutes. When you have 2 minutes left, we will message in the chat. So please keep the chat open so you can see where that 2-minute left reminder is, and you'll also get a 30-second one as well, so we'll let you know when you've got 30 seconds off. After that, when time is up, I will cut you off. So good luck, enjoy, and your time will start now.
Good afternoon to our judges, Mr. David Basson, Ms. Dina Kijali, and Mr. Scott Thompson. I'm Vivian of Team 113, and today our team is very excited to be sharing with you our recommendation for ACSL to meet their goal of global expansion. First on the agenda, I'll be discussing our executive summary and SWOT analysis, followed by Santucci and Caitlin's detailing of our pitch, and finally Michelle, who will conclude before the Q&A. Just as ACSL's AP3 control technology sits at the base of their solution to liberate humanity through technology, our solution also aims to follow the same idea. Inspired by the power of the human brain, we recommend that ACSL not be the peripheral, but to be the cerebrum and ultimately control the nervous system, as will be further explained on our next slide. Don't be the peripheral, be the cerebrum, control the nervous system. Our 3-dimensional solution targets ACSL's opportunities to grow, as well as tackles each of the solutions you can see listed. Don't be the peripheral. ACSL should be the center of everyone's vision. A growth in brand awareness is necessary to not only increase profits, but so that ACSL can become one of the most well-known global drone companies in the global markets. To be the cerebrum. We want ACSL to be the leader of the drone industry, just like the brain is well connected to and in full control of the human body. Building business partnerships will help ACSL to become the go-to drone company, as well as help to build extensive client databases and help ACSL to build cultural understanding. And finally, to control the nervous system. Integrating and managing operations in foreign countries will not only help ACSL on the pathway to a future of autonomous control, but also the entirety of humanity. I will now detail to you our team's thought process to these solutions in our next slide. In conducting our SWOT analysis, our team identified that ACSL's strength of being at the forefront of technological developments, as well as with minimal competitors in the Japanese market, was sustainable enough as to not be a priority in the coming years. Our extensive research outlines that existing trends, as well as COVID-19's role as a catalyst, has meant that there has been a rise in the implementation of drone technology across all major industries. And hence, there is plentiful opportunity for ACSL once barriers such as security and trust concerns have been resolved. Next slide, please.
As enthusiastic consultants, the moment we received the case, we were quick to begin researching about ACSL. However, when typing ACSL into search engines, we noticed that we were not easily led to their corporate webpage nor social media pages. This brought up the issue of ACSL's lack of an online presence, particularly when searching their name in English. And so to counteract this, we proposed that ACSL invest more in social media marketing. Our research found that 77% of business-to-business buyers were heavily influenced by customer success stories. And so it is vital that ACSL avidly produce testimonial videos to upload to their YouTube channel. Couple this with search engine optimization, and ACSL will be able to reach a wider customer base and build trust with all clients, potential and existing. Next slide, please. And so when you combine the growth of major industries with the predicted growth of the drone industry to $42.8 billion by 2025, the question that arises is how can ACSL take advantage of such industries, and how can we use their technology to fill the gaps? So if we were to take the agriculture industry, for example, the market size for drones within agriculture is expected to grow from 1.2 to $4.8 billion by 2024. Now, this is due to the ability of drones to improve productivity and accuracy in the operations of such areas. And so ACSL can take advantage of these driving forces and implement their technology, say towards soil and drainage analysis or crop health assessment. Next slide, please. So once we've considered the types of industries we can tap into, the next thing to consider is what is the optimal method to establish ACSL to generate sales globally. And one of the most effective and cost-effective and common methods that we found was partnering with corporations who will not only value but benefit from ACSL's technology. And so partnering with another company can give ACSL the opportunity to tap into their customer base and allow them to exhibit their capabilities of customizing drone technology to meet the specific needs of the clients of the partner company. And so if I was to give an example, ACSL could work with, say, a global software development company with works in the mining industry. And so working alongside the partner company can allow ACSL to establish their very own network. And this is done by building the connections that we've made from the global clients of the partner company. So what will this look like in the long term? Well, ACSL will be able to achieve their unique objectives and have a smoother entry into foreign markets when they are ready to do so. Next slide, please.
The largest Southeast Asian economy, Indonesia, looks more than ideal for the growth of ACSL, with the Indonesian government only investing 0.2% of their GDP into research and development. Indonesia's technology is behind and lacking, leaving a gap in the market ACSL can fill. With increases in infrastructure projects, such as the government's building of generators, there is an abundance of potential clientele that awaits ACSL in Indonesia. This graph of Indonesia's predicted growth in GDP to 120 billion by 2025 perfectly sums up how the versatility of ACSL's drones could integrate into the Indonesian market. Learning from your mistakes is good, but what's even better is learning from others. While researching other prominent drone companies, a trend became apparent. Overconfidence was the downfall. Entering a new market can be extremely costly, and therefore ACSL must gradually ease into the Indonesian market. This is the exact reason as to why we have suggested the following permits to first develop an in-depth understanding of the market before the final decision to move into Indonesia. Next slide, please. We had noticed Kensuke, the chief financial officer, had mentioned the company's goal to reach $1 billion in net sales by 2030. With this information, we calculated an estimated financial projection in order to reach this goal. Next slide, please.
After we identify the steps for external expansion, ACSL must also strengthen their internal network of neurons who will carry out the master plan. Most startup technology companies would likely adopt the flat organizational structure, but as the company expands and hires more people, it would be necessary to restructure the managerial positions to ensure that responsibilities would be clear and won't overlap. Adopting a divisional organizational structure would help management better delegate responsibilities. So the company would be composed of multiple divisions, each division serving a different industry. And within one division, several functional departments will collaborate with each other for ease of communication. This way, each division can build their own portfolio of customization projects specific to clients within their designated industry. In order to facilitate communication within the division, we introduce to you A-shaped thinking. Even though every employee shares the same business objective, different departments would have different approaches on how these goals can be achieved. So departments should be constantly exchanging and discussing information. This will help them make clearer business decisions. Ultimately, efficient operations will drive sales for steps 3 and 4. Next slide, please. Our roadmap here roughly plans out the time of execution for our solution. All our solutions can be implemented straight away in 2021 to prepare ACSL for their global expansion. However, our physical expansion into Indonesia will be delayed to phase 2 due to potential restriction and economic recession from COVID-19, as well as regulations and financial considerations. Next slide, please. Perhaps the biggest and most notable risk is that expansion into Indonesia might not be as profitable as we think it would be. Although ACSL might be losing some bottom line revenue here, the bigger picture to consider is that our revenue stream should be sustainable, ensuring that our finances are not tied to only one regional market would better mitigate financial risk for the company in the long term. Next slide, please. Of the many things in the world that are up in the air right now, ACSL's drones are not one of them, yet. Throughout the next few years, you will see them zooming in and out of buildings and flying into the horizon all around the world. Promoting brand awareness and strengthening company structure is the first step. ACSL could then connect with other businesses around the globe. Starting from Indonesia. Team 113 thanks you for your time, and we now invite your questions.
Awesome, thanks guys. Time for questions. Please keep your answers concise because then you'll have more time to answer more questions.
Yeah, thank you for the...
We'll
Sorry,
start
David.
with Scott, thank you.
No, Scott, I was waiting for you.
Yeah, no, thank you for the presentation. Clearly, partnerships are a big part of the proposition. What do you think that ACSL can offer its partners that our competitors can't?
Yes, thank you for your question, Mr. Thompson. I'll hand over to Santishi to answer for you.
Yeah, so we realized that ACSL uses SLAM technology, which is at the forefront of drone technology that that could really benefit them to show partners that they are capable of combining their operations with the partners' operations to serve the partners' clients. And also, yeah, so if we build the brand awareness of the type of technology that we have, it'll additionally help partners be aware of our capabilities. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
I've got very little financial in your presentation here that you've given today. So where do you see the key areas, well, where the key times of investment will be required, and when, and given that significant investment, as you mentioned earlier, entering a new market is difficult, when do you see that significant investment occurring, and when do you see your return and the growth in revenue starting to increase?
Yes, thank you for your question, Mr. Basson. I'll pass over to Michelle to answer for you.
Yeah, so partnering with organizing partnerships will not require too many investments. Most of our investments would be when we are entering Indonesia, because there's a lot of permits and registration fees that we need. And as well as when we are organizing our management team, we need to hire more managers, and paying their fees, paying their wages will require a lot of money as well. In terms of when we think the investment will see a return, we propose it will be around 2024, 2025, which when we'll actually break even when of the expenses and will really pick up.
Thank you.
We have time for one more quick question.
Great. So my question is, first of all, well done. I particularly liked your senior management restructure section. How do you plan to overcome or bridge the cultural differences in the Indonesian expansion? In particular, what are some of the government challenges, and how do you plan to overcome those?
Yes, thank you for your question, Ms. Kayali. I'll hand over to Michelle to answer.
Yep, so there will be cultural differences when we are entering into the foreign markets, but because we'll aim to be partnering with other companies within our target countries, so they'll know more about the culture and how to communicate with clients and what customers want. So we're able to overcome the barrier there. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Great, thank you team. Make sure to come back. We've got the final, the winners announced later on this afternoon at 2:50 Australia time and 4:50 New Zealand time. So make sure to come back for those. Great job, best of luck, and we'll see you later on this afternoon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome to team number 4. We'll give the judges a little bit of time just to put their scoring down for the previous team, and I'll introduce the next team. So team 4, we have ID 520. We have Stephanie, Thomas, and Tharushi. Welcome to the 3 of you. Best of luck ahead. So just a reminder, you do have 10 minutes for your presentation. We will let you know through the chat when you have 2 minutes left. So please keep your chat open so you can see that. It's just going to be a message in there, and then we'll also give you a reminder with when you've got 30 seconds to go. We'll let you know in the chat as well. Then you'll also have questions. Now when we have the questions, try to keep your answers concise so that you'll have time for more questions, which will be of greater benefit for your team as well. So is everybody here in your team ready to go? We'll just get one person to give me the go ahead.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, you can start in 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Hi, my name is Tharushi and I'll be introducing our agenda for today. So first, Thomas will take you through the executive summary and Stephanie will carry on with the details of the pitch before we summarize. Next slide, please.
So the key question for ACSL in the future is how is it able to build a stronger presence in markets beyond Japan? There are a couple of key issues here. Firstly, the drone market is highly competitive, with many producers already very active internationally, creating significant barriers of entry. Secondly, as it stands, ACSL has a very limited international presence. And thirdly, due to COVID and other issues, there has been a decrease in sales revenue. We propose that the best strategy to combat these issues and have ACSL succeed abroad is through the development of an underwater drone targeted at the global aquaculture industry. We believe that due to many factors, such as the less saturated nature of the underwater drone market or the massive scale of the aquaculture industry, the impact of this will be a significant growth in sales, resulting in a profit of nearly 1.8 billion in the financial year of release, 1.8 billion yen, and an average CAGR in net sales of 27% from financial year 21 to 26. Next slide, please. So let's do a quick overview of exactly what our proposed strategy is here. Let's examine ACSL's unique capabilities and how these can be leveraged to position them to become the go-to company in the specialized aquaculture drone industry. ACSL's unique capabilities include autonomous flight, operation even in GPS-denied environments, and following a business strategy that produces unique client-centered solutions using its drone product. We think that there is a market that ACSL should tap into for highly customized underwater drones with these capabilities in the aquaculture industry, particularly in areas across the Asia-Pacific, such as Japan, the ASEAN nations, and India. Why? Well, there are several key reasons. Aquaculture is the fastest growing food sector. The underwater drone market is significantly less competitive. And finally, ACSL's current capabilities could make it the top producer of underwater drones in the aquaculture industry, which is the primary aim of this strategy. This could be done in a development agreement with a Japan-based aquaculture multinational. I'll now pass on to Steph to explore the specifics of the underwater drone industry. Next slide, please.
Our research has revealed that there is a greater opportunity for ACSL to quickly expand globally by creating underwater drones. The international unmanned aerial vehicle industry is highly competitive. The 3 fields in which ACSL currently operates, including disaster relief, inspection, and delivery, are already saturated with competitors who operate at scale and are pursuing aggressive growth strategies, such as DJI and Parrot. We then turned our minds to identifying alternative high-growth markets. Food production came to mind. The terrestrial segment of this market was interesting, but already fairly developed for drone technology. However, the aquaculture market has several characteristics which offer significant opportunities for ACSL's drone technology. The underwater drone industry is far smaller and therefore less competitive, and it is growing at 5 times the rate. A closer look at the top 10 underwater drone companies reveals that ACSL can compete and win. Since this is a China-dominated industry, ACSL could take advantage of rising political tensions to expand into regions outside of China. Furthermore, ACSL could create a superior drone with its autonomous navigation technology, and by creating drones specifically for use in aquaculture. Next slide, please. So why the aquaculture industry? Aquaculture is the future. It is the fastest growing food sector, expected to surpass wild capture by 2030, and it is likely to grow even faster due to WTO's planned elimination of subsidies for unsustainable fishing practices. Notably, ACSL would be helping to achieve a sustainable development goal by creating drones to assist in aquaculture, which supports its vision to liberate humanity through technology. Moreover, there is high demand for new technology in aquaculture. The most common methods of inspection, using divers, fixed cameras, or ROVs, are undoubtedly inferior to the possibilities underwater drones present. These methods can be dangerous, inflexible, or expensive. The introduction of underwater drones would mean access to features beyond visual inspection, greater flexibility with autonomous drones, safer inspections, and accurate data collection. It could also be the less expensive option. We've calculated that the price of ACSL's underwater drone would likely be half the price of a standard ROV. Furthermore, key aquaculture multinationals such as Nisui and Maruha Nichiro Corporation have said they are looking for new technology and ways to promote sustainable practices. Next slide, please. Some underwater drones have been applied in aquaculture, such as Norwegian company Blue Eye's Pioneer drone. Blue Eye has been successful, selling over 650 units before its official launch, and its drone has proven useful in aquaculture. But ACSL can create a superior underwater drone. For example, using ACSL's current unique capabilities, its drones would be autonomous and customizable. It could have also the option of extra features such as measuring chemical levels. An important note is that ACSL's current technology, which allows for autonomous navigation, can also be used effectively underwater, and in fact, it is twice as accurate as the standard navigation systems used by underwater drones. In summary, the underwater drone and aquaculture industries present a great opportunity for ACSL, and ACSL can use its current technology to make a superior drone. I will now hand over to Tharushi to go through the implementation timeline. Next slide, please.
Our implementation timeline has 3 stages. So first, we reach out to aquaculture multinationals, which will take the remainder of this financial year. So this involves assessing our options and gauging the interest of multinationals who could potentially benefit from our product, and then of course having preliminary meetings with them. At this point, we enter a development agreement before starting the development and testing stage, which happens in FY 2022. Researching and developing the product will take approximately 6 months, followed by another 6 months of testing the drone in farms and making modifications accordingly. And then these steps lead to our ultimate goal, which is to go global. From FY 2023 onward, the multinational starts to use the drone, and eventually ACSL will be able to decentralize and build its presence overseas. And then of course, this timeline will extend for an indefinite period of time as ACSL continues to expand. Next slide, please. I will now like to introduce you to Yuki, who owns numerous aquaculture farms and is about to embark on the client journey. So for years, Yuki has been using cameras and divers to inspect his farms. However, unbalanced chemical levels, diseases, and escaping fish still pose a significant problem. So this leads to him seeking an alternative which is efficient, reliable, and safe. He hears about the amazing features of ACSL drones and realizes that they will be able to save him precious time and resources in the long run. So next, he reaches out to ACSL and completes a proof of concept to ascertain how the drones can be tailored to his business. And finally, he buys the drone and is blown away by its superior capabilities and fantastic quality. I'd now like to hand over to Thomas, who will explain the financial impact. Next slide, please.
First and foremost, according to our modeling, we predict that the profit at the end of the financial year of release would be close to 1.8 billion yen. Secondly, the average CAGR in net sales from FY21 to FY26, we predict to be about 27%. This is 10% more than modeling would suggest otherwise. Thirdly, we estimate that the R&D costs of developing a drone such as this would be around 322 million yen. Although this is a significant amount, ACSL will more than be able to cover for this even in the first year of release. Overall, this project would put another 615 million yen into ACSL's net sales just in the financial year of release. As ACSL takes up more of its natural market share, underwater drones could make up nearly half of all sales by 2026. Even when modeling for worst and best case scenarios, the benefits are still very clear, as is seen in our chart. This is even taking into account some of the risks ACSL may encounter with this strategy, which I will now pass back to Tharushi to discuss in more detail.
For the sake of time, I will explain the most significant risks. So firstly, significant R&D costs are unavoidable since our strategy requires developing a completely new production line. However, there will still be significant long-term financial benefits, as Thomas just outlined, so these costs will be outweighed. Secondly, low business confidence is especially a risk right now due to COVID-19. However, seafood is and will increasingly become a vital part of the diets of people from all around the world. Also, income growth is expected to drive demand by 35% in the next 20 years, which will again improve business confidence. And of course, there is the threat that competitors will copy our idea. ACSL already has a competitive edge due to its unique and powerful technology, but we can further minimize this threat by building ACSL's reputation as a trustworthy company which produces high quality drones. I will now hand over to Steph to summarize our presentation. Next slide, please.
In summary, noting the significant opportunities presented by the underwater drone and aquaculture industries, our proposed strategy is to use ACSL's current unique capabilities to create underwater drones for use in aquaculture, beginning by entering a development agreement with an aquaculture multinational based in Japan. This would enable ACSL to quickly expand globally, delivering a CAGR of 27% for the 5 years to FY26. This is 10% higher than its organic growth rate would have been. ACSL will emerge as the go-to company for underwater drones in aquaculture and will be internationally known for reliable, customizable, and effective products. Thank you for listening, and we welcome your questions.
Awesome, thanks team. We'll pass over to the judges. Who has the first question?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Are you worried at all that the significant investment in other technologies in the aquaculture sector might slow the uptake of the proposition?
I can answer this question. So in regards to the significant investment in other areas of the aquaculture industry, as was mentioned by a couple of aquaculture multinationals, as we outlined earlier, the production of an underwater drone could be nearly twice as cheap as traditional other methods of technology such as ROVs, and is a very significant and is in very high and significant demand. So we believe that the investment is very well justified, particularly in underwater drone technology as an aspect of the technological investment of the aquaculture industry.
Thank you.
I have a question. Thank you very much. Very interesting identification of the aquaculture market. Can you please elaborate on the necessary partnerships or possible acquisitions in particular that would complement your strategy and the product itself?
So I can answer this. The main way we would start off this strategy, as we've said, is by entering a development agreement with a major aquaculture multinational. So in that way, hopefully we would be able to get in touch with various suppliers and so forth. And also the underwater drone industry does already exist. So there are already suppliers which are willing to give us these technologies that we would need. There, of course, as we've said, ACSL does already have a lot of these technologies already, such as visual SLAM and LiDAR technology, which allows for autonomous navigation in non-GPS denied GPS denied environments. Also, if you go to slide 20, though it's not strictly necessary, we did look at reports and visions of the top 10 seafood multinationals which use aquaculture, and we found that there is definitely serious demand for new technology, and there's a massive push for more sustainable fishing methods. So if we were to partner with them and also combine our R&D capacities, we could definitely solve any possible issues that could come our way.
Thank you.
Awesome, thanks team. So we have no more time left for questions, unfortunately, but please remember to come back later on in the day at 2:50 for Australian time, 4:50 New Zealand time for the announcement of the winners. Great job team, we'll see you later on. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
We've got Royan, Emily, Krishitha and Sarah. So you do have 10 minutes as a reminder for your presentation. You will get a message in the chat when you've got 2 minutes to go, and you'll also get a message in the chat when you've only got 30 seconds left as well. If you keep talking over those 10 minutes, then I will have to interrupt you, so please keep to the time. Are you all ready? Okay, I'll give you a countdown. You can start in 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
June, Scott, Dina and David. We are the Steady Wi-Fi consulting team, always providing a secure and connected route to success. I'm Krishitha.
Sarah.
Rita.
For our agenda today, we will begin with an executive summary, then a market analysis, our recommendations based on an original theory, and then a clear roadmap. Next.
Thanks, Krishita. Let's start by outlining ACSL's current situation. Japanese drone company Acsl's mission is to develop their brand on a global platform and replace dangerous jobs with drones. Currently, they develop commercial drones that are tasked with things such as infrastructure inspection, delivery, and disaster relief and prevention. A consideration is the Chinese company DJI, the biggest producer of commercial drones. However, in the current geopolitical climate, consumers are steering clear of Chinese manufactured products. Additionally, Acsl's small company that sells only 5 drones per month with only 30 members. And prior investments, for example, the Korean market to the African industry, are stumping their growth. Acsl's objective and therefore their vision is to become a front runner in the international drone market while maintaining the business model of being multi-purpose and customizable. The impact of achieving these things includes a larger international standing, increased financial prospects, better in society, and technological advancement. Next slide, please.
I will now provide a market analysis through the lens of a SWOT grid. Starting with the strengths, Acsl holds a unique edge with its AP3 control technology, also its high performance and readiness on a timely and market penetration scale. But the drone market is one to have limited flexibility in pricing and high transportation costs, as well as the lacking resources and relationships. But it's possible to leverage the strengths over the weaknesses. Looking at the opportunities, the global drone market has a strong projected market growth, as can be seen in the graph. The variety of uses for drones and security issues with China makes it now better than ever for Acsl to come into the global drone market. Lastly, threats include the competitive nature of the industry, regulations, and also the perceived reliability of drones. Next slide, please. We have summed up a few critical insights. 1, customization for Acsl takes a long time. 2, we don't have global relationships. Finally, there are many regulations and cultural barriers and trust issues related to foreign brands. There is also a decrease in cash flow over the past financial years. The key takeaway here, through all these insights, at its core, is the main complication of how Acsl is not yet big enough to take on a fast strategy to globalize. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Krishita. Now I'm going to introduce the egg theory. Let's think an egg as a country. During a company's expansion, there are 3 important layers to go through. First is the Acsl, which is the law and the regulation for drones to be able to fly in a specific region. Second layer is the egg white, local environment. Finally, the yolk is a product and the company can provide. In this case, it's Acsl's commercial drone. Our goal is to get as many different eggs as we can, which is to open the different industries in multiple countries. During our research, brainstorm, and consideration of many different situations and plans, we find out it's difficult to achieve the 2 points at the same time, so we come up with 2 strategies. On our slide, stage 1 and 2 is inverse yet complementary to each other. They will make the speeded up of Acsl's global expansion become outstanding. Now I'm going to hand over to Emily. Next.
Thank you, Rita. So next I will explain our first Acsl expansion strategy. This strategy involves sticking to Acsl's current business model whilst implementing marketing tactics and organizing a partnership and investment within one country. So the outcome from this strategy is an increase in global recognition, human resources, technology, and revenue. This strategy relates to and mitigates Acsl's current complication in globalizing, being the lack of resources. We recommend this steady strategy will provide a gateway to stage 2 globalization. Below is also a criterion we followed in researching our suitable countries and potential partnerships. Next slide, please. So after financial calculation and extensive research, the country that suited our criteria the most was Australia. Firstly, there is a minimal barrier of entry to the Australian market. Politically, the Australian government, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, endorses that Australia and Japan has a strong relationship. This is important as regulations and political forces are one of the largest restrictions, especially to the drone industry. Additionally, there is only a 1 to 2 hour time difference, which allows for easy communication to Japanese headquarters. Australia also has a stable economy, and they are known as the world's 5th highest drone spender at $3.1 billion annually. Most importantly, Australia has markets for all services, being big in agriculture, mining, construction, and also suffers from natural disasters such as bushfires and cyclones. Australia also has a low population and can act as a door to the west. Next slide, please. So looking into the approach, to get ACSL into the Australian market, we recommend establishing a partnership. Additionally, we also recommend ACSL to invest in a local startup technological company for 3 reasons. 1, it continues their technological research. 2, it saves resources. And 3, ACSL can use the opposition's technology in their drones in the future. Once partnerships are established, ACSL should focus on marketing to attract the customers. Currently, ACSL has a 4-step business model. Step 1 is proof of concept, where they demonstrate their technology. Step 2 is the customization of drones. Step 3, implementation. And Step 4, mass production. According to ACSL, they earn more revenue in steps 1 and 2, as only 50 to 70% of the clients reach steps 3 and 4. The clients who don't are put on pending and not lost. And for this reason, we should focus on attracting new clients. To do this, we need to target one market with low competition and implement a promotion. The promotion includes a 3 to 5 discount for the initial 3 to 6 months in step 1, demonstrating capabilities. To mitigate ACSL's decrease in cash flow due to the late submissions of payment from clients, we should also have a condition of deadline. So if the portfolios aren't provided on time, then there won't be any discount, but the customer still remains to go onto the preceding steps of the business model. So this concludes stage 1. I will now pass on to Sarah to explain stage 2. Next slide.
Thanks, Emily. So following stage 1, the expansion strategy, we have stage 2, the globalization strategy. Steady Wi-Fi consulting team recommends that for upwards of 5 years, ACSL should target a single industry within multiple countries, as listed within the egg theory. We recommend these countries are located in Southeast Asia, as they all have similar environment, similar industries, similar relationships, and all have high expected drone market growth. We also recommend focusing on infrastructure and construction. After filming and photography, inspection and maintenance are the next highest use expected drones. And these will heavily be used in infrastructure and construction. And the infrastructure industry has a predicted value of 45.2 billion, the highest for any drone use industry, and construction has the highest revenue. We recommend following only one industry for the following reasons. Reason number 1, unlike Japan, the company will not have the endorsement from the government. Reason number 2, it allows for significant advancement in the specific tech field where ACSL can become a top player. And reason number 3, ultimately it allows the company to get their foot in the door of multiple nations, because when focusing on too many industries, it becomes difficult to organize and advance. While we're aware in the long term ACSL would not prefer to be a one-road company, it takes gradual steps to achieve globalization. We also acknowledge that the company values may change in which is a choice of pursuing a new industry or maintaining the position with a current and chosen industry. Next slide, please. So how Steady Wi-Fi aims to implement this is first we will target the above countries highlighted in blue for stage 2. Currently, USA, Israel and China are the major players in the drone market. However, as Chinese products are related to security issues and USA and Israel drones are very expensive to these mid-level economic countries, Japanese products are known for their quality and are also politically closer to these countries. And with more appealing prices, we can reach them well. Once these products are succeeded, then the annual growth is expected to be exponential, and then positive feedback from the Asian market will provide a gateway into the Indian market, one of the fastest growing markets, and similarly the African and American market. Now I'll hand over to Rita to take you through a combination of these stages.
At the end, we create
Next
slide. Yeah. At the end, we create a roadmap. This is a 30 years plan for helping ACSL to achieve their final goal. So in stage 1 at 2021, ACSL will be starting entering the Australia drone market. From 2025, in 10 years, the company will gain consumers and create profits at Australia and expand into some South Asia countries. In stage 2, from 2037, the company will be starting to plan for new industries and countries. And also from 2039 is another 10 years developing period. They will be able to have a global scale drone market. In 2050, ACSL will achieve their goal and able to have further development.
We believe ACSL will be readier than ever to take on the step of expanding on a global scale, putting them on track to future success. Thank you for your attention. We are now open for questions and elaborations.
Awesome, thanks team. I'll pass over to the judges now.
Hi team, thank you very much for all of your efforts. Great thought through presentation, so well done on that and great teamwork. My question was in regards to your mention of startups, particularly within the Australian market. Have you identified any particular startups and what they might be? If you can elaborate on that, that would be great.
Thank you, that is a great question. If we could go back to slide 8, please. So regarding the startup companies, regarding the startup companies, we haven't quite determined the exact companies for ACSL to partner with. However, currently in the Australian market, there has been some technology companies such as what was their name? Hover UAV and Co. So they are currently trying to establish, they are a team of engineers who are trying to establish a kind of interface kind of technology that ACSL has been looking for, and they can use this in their future partnerships when they do the analysis of screenings for different companies.
Thank you.
I've got a similar question in that the model that's used is partnership with a significant company normally, or a significant player in the area. So have you any competitors in Australia? I couldn't work out. But what company, or give me an example of a company that you would partner with in Australia? Okay, I'll ask one further question then. What will a drone look like in 2039? You've got the growth to that point. What will a drone look like in 2039?
Well, the drones will be customized to whatever the customer wants. So whatever technology, however it advances in the future, ACSL will be able to come up with that, but through more partnerships or anything that is needed. So with other partnerships with other technological companies to improve their drones for the future.
Okay.
Great, thanks team. We've run out of time for questions, so we'll have to move on, but great job to all of you. Thanks for your presentation. Do remember to come back at 2:50 Australian time, 4:50 New Zealand time for the results and the winners of the competition. So thank you very much. We'll see you later on.
Thank you.
And we're welcoming team number 7. So in team number 7, ID number 334, we have Joanna, Bianca, Tiana, and Angelina. It looks like everybody is joining. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for everybody's audio to come on. A reminder for everybody in the team, you do have 10 minutes for your presentation, and then you'll have around 4 minutes for your question time. You will receive a reminder when you have 2 minutes left to wrap up towards the end, and then you'll have a 30-second reminder as well. If you do go over time, I will have to interrupt you, so please try to be strict with your timing and keep your chat open so you can see where the 2-minute and 30-second reminders are. It looks like everybody has joined now. Can I just get the thumbs up from your team that it looks like everybody is here? Awesome. Okay, you may begin in 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
By 2030, agriculture is predicted to be enhanced by drone technology, resulting in $32.4 billion gained within the industry.
With these predicted business impacts, there is an immense break in the market, which we need to breach by 2030.
Good afternoon to the panel of judges. My name is Angelina.
I'm Tiana.
I'm Joanna.
And I'm Bianca.
And as management consultants, we have devised the effective strategy for ACSL's global expansion. Next slide, please.
The current issue ACSL is facing is a lack of sales towards their target market. This is due to their restricted geography that ACSL has established for themselves.
Our vision is to introduce Autonomous Control Systems Laboratory, ACSL, into the agricultural industry. This would allow us to breach an untapped market, with our mission being expanding ACSL on a global scale, beginning in Europe.
Our target audience includes European large agricultural produce corporations and companies that tackle monitoring, management, and production of agricultural products. Therefore, ACSL's sales will be agriculturally purposed drone technologies. In pursuing this, there are possibilities of partnering with reputable European companies assisting in the product's production and distribution.
To measure the success of our marketing strategy, we must analyze the total revenue along with the overheads to revenue ratio. Addressing the supply and demand statistics is essential. We also must address how to overall increase the profitability of the company and the proposed plan. Next slide, please.
According to the European Commission, there was an estimate of 7 million shipments of drone in the agriculture industry. By 2021, there is predicted to be 29 million, an increase of 22 million drones. But why is this? As AI and the Internet of Things advances in technology, different avenues and opportunities are available for ACSL to conquer.
ACSL's drones can be used to monitor crops through drone surveillance. According to SenseFly, a drone manufacturer specializing in agriculture, the utilization of drones by the Ocelia Group resulted in a 10% average increase in crop yield.
The drone will also be used to provide a live count of livestock for major farming operations. A major selling point would be the drone's ability to collect soil samples, being used to ensure the efficiency of soil pH balance, along with inputs of water and fertilizer, maximizing productivity, quality, and yield. Next slide, please.
When considering where to expand ACSL's technology, Europe was a no-brainer. ACSL's goal was to globally expand, and 44 countries within the EU have open borders. Therefore, the distribution of ACSL's technology will be effective and efficient. The establishment of a main headquarters within Central Europe allows for convenient access to surrounding countries. This decreases shipping costs and allows products to be sold on a larger scale, as opposed to expanding to another island country like Japan.
Another factor was whether the country would be able to financially support ACSL. Currently, the EU is heavily investing in the drone industry. 320 million euros was spent on surveillance drone development. This can branch off into the adaptation of the drone to not only be used for crop surveillance, but to collect other sufficient data, thus expanding the target market.
When analysing the OECD top 10 richest countries around the globe, 7 out of the 10 countries were in the EU, with Europe ranking as the second largest economy in the world. Their wealth has ultimately led to the success of their agricultural industry, bringing in a gross value of €181.7 billion in 2018, as seen in the slides. Next slide, please.
Regarding ACSL's current neighboring competitors from China, DJI Innovations is a drone company holding about 70% of the commercial drone market. Additionally, Unique, another Chinese drone company, is acknowledged for introducing the first fly-out drone.
When ACSL breaks into the European market, Azure Drones and Dell Air Tech will be their European-based competitors. These companies focus on security and industrial enterprise solutions. Next slide, please.
The real question is, why are we different to our competitors? As shown, we have 4 prospective differences. Simple delivery drones are more commonly recognized. However, ACSL's unique design of their drones includes pre-planned inspection codes that program the drones to complete the agriculturally purposed tasks.
ACSL drones can be manufactured with varying coding systems for multiple purposes, which is rare compared to other companies where there is one purpose for the specific drone, which differentiates ACSL. These 4 bases include delivery, inspection, disaster relief, and emergency use. Next slide, please. Since we are breaching uncharted territory for ACSL, there is the possibility of pursuing varying partnerships with well-established and trusted companies within Europe.
Regarding funding in Europe, one of the current top agricultural organizations includes Scandinavian-based Saga Robotics. Their purpose is making agriculture efficient through technology. ACSL can partner with this company and provide them with a profitable strategy in terms of expanding their technology, as drones are not commonly used within the company. Saga Robotics is a highly trusted company from a European standpoint, being one of the highest funded European agricultural companies at $9.5 million for funding.
ACSL could potentially have a joint venture since Saga Robotics has a well-established name that ACSL could add a drone division within the company to be sold to Saga Robotics clientele. A joint venture would allow both companies to profit and gain from the partnership, forming a trusted platform to launch the expansion of ACSL.
Vital Fields is a digital agriculture company that offers an easy-to-use farm management system for farmers, including simplified tracking and reporting of all crop inputs to ensure compliance with European Union environmental standards.
ACSL would be a successful partner to this company, as the implementation of drones would minimise labour costs and be more time efficient. Through this partnership, Vital Fields' established business could assist ACSL in promoting its name. Next slide, please.
Like any foolproof plan, we must acknowledge potential risks to prepare us when confronted. These can be broken up into 4 key categories: customer, supply chain, operation, and finance.
There are risks in terms of training farmers to use our agriculturally purposed drones. The US Department of Agriculture states that only 73% of farmers have computer access, while only 47% are actually using computers for business purposes. This statistic would reflect similarly within Europe. In order to combat this risk, we are proposing to offer free technical assistance and training provided with the purchase of a drone.
This will ensure that each farmer or agricultural company purchasing the drones can maximise use of the drone and reduce chances of potential problems. COVID-19 has taught us how easily we can adapt face-to-face activity to the virtual world, for example via Zoom, Google Meets or Canva, which can be decided at a later date.
Relying on technology also comes with the risk of technological failure. This includes a server being down, battery run out, or a system malfunction. This leaves farmers without the tools and data they require in order to sustain their crops. However, implementing a backup server will ensure that data collected will be stored in a backup drive and combat technology failure. Next slide, please.
So, all this information leads us to the question of when. When should ACSL enter the drone market now that we have a marketing strategy? Our plan insists that ACSL enters the market now. COVID-19 provides a perfect and one-of-a-kind opportunity for ACSL.
Since ACSL is a drone manufacturing company, they can advertise the use of their drone to agricultural companies to replace heavy labour. Drones can operate overnight, unlike a majority of humans, and they are COVID-19 safe, which is a major advantage considering our current situation.
Expanding to Europe also provides ACSL with a less competitive market. Geographically, China and Japan are neighbours, meaning the majority of ACSL's major competitors are based in China. Expanding to Europe would allow ACSL to enter a fresh and growing market to advertise their drones. Currently, the negative stigma surrounding Chinese products due to COVID-19 creates another perfect gap in the market for ACSL, considering they are a Japanese company looking to expand. Next slide, please.
Our proposed timeline is definitely flexible in the case of technical difficulties or delays given the current COVID-19 situation. Our timeline begins in November, where conducted research regarding the target market within Europe and the implementation of ACSL technology will be covered. This leads to December, where we propose that ACSL discusses and reaches out to aforementioned companies in the possibility of partnerships.
In the same month, we plan to identify probable clients and risks that ACSL could encounter throughout. In the following year, there will be an inquiry into manufacturing companies who would be willing to provide us with their factories in order for ACSL to have a more efficient base within Europe.
In May of 2021, it is proposed that ACSL begin manufacturing and testing the outcomes of the drones and tweaking any complications within to then enter the market in August of 2021. Overall, through our global expansion plan, ACSL will be able to spark further inquiry into the development and implementation of our agriculturally purposed drones. It's been a pleasure to present our ideas through this platform today. Thank you for having us. Are there any questions?
Great, thanks ladies. I'll pass over to the judges for their questions.
David Buisson, looking at your strategy for entry into Europe, you've got a farming industry that is incredibly fragmented, with many, French consider 6 cows as a farm. Now you're proposing involvement with Vital Fields. Now Vital Fields is a startup of about 20 people in Estonia at this point in time. Now, do you intend to buy Vital Fields, or do you intend to do a partnership with Vital Fields? How do you intend to grow into a European market that are so fragmented with a company that virtually is a startup itself? Or
I think that a main point that we're focusing on within our expansion is making connections with other companies within Europe, as at the moment ACSL hasn't really established a name for themselves as well. So we were thinking that connecting with other European countries and offering partnerships would be a more of a strategic and efficient way of expanding. And whilst these companies may be starting, as you just said, in vital fields, we could also create, whilst we said in our presentation that both of these companies would get profit and gain from the implementation of coming together. So it'd also be a benefit for vital fields as well when connecting with ACSL.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much for the presentation. Just, I guess, further to David's question, you talked in quite a bit of detail about how you'd identified Europe as the right market to target. I'm interested if you considered other large agricultural markets like the United States, for instance, and how you decided against places like that.
It was more in terms of, like, as we stated, through looking at the OECD and how it was a very profitable market to walk into, considering already the funding that Europe's gained in terms of taking money in terms of like agriculture. I think the statistic we used was roughly $180 billion being put solely to agriculture. And since it's currently, there is a lot of green land known to be found in Europe, and there are a lot of established businesses within Europe that we can obviously provide a more efficient means to conduct this business. We thought it'd be more profitable on that end.
I'd also like to add something. ACSL also has like a base set up in the United States already. So we thought it would be more beneficial for them to start up somewhere in new territory, such as Europe, to expand them more on a global scale. So that was another reason.
Thank you.
We do have time for a very quick question.
Great. So first of all, well done. My quick question is regarding your timelines. I noticed that they're quite aggressive. In particular, you have partnerships secured and then manufacturing starting in May of next year. So I just wanted a bit more detail about how you've come up with those timelines and any validation around that.
Well, with our timeline, it's just an estimate of how everything would flow along. There could be an overlap of different areas, like such as the research or like testing or finding partnerships could overlap, and the manufacturing could overlap with certain things. So it could be shrunk down or it could be elongated depending on how everything moves along.
And I'd just like to add in there, as Joanna spoke about within the timeline, it's also very flexible, considering our main purpose and our main idea of when to enter the target market is now during COVID-19, as now is when we have that specific group that we are trying to reduce the interaction of humans together. And that would also need to be concise, because if we were going to create our products then in 2022, we may have past the COVID-19 block that we are aiming to get in and conquer.
Yeah, and just another thing, the timeline was just like a brief, like, no, not brief, just an outline of what we were planning to do. Like Angelina said, we're always like, it's open for changes to be made and when things will actually occur, but it's just like a brief outline to just show what might happen during these months or times.
Great, thank you, team. I'm going to have to cut you off there. Sorry. Thanks for all your answers to the questions. Do come back later on at 2:50 Australian time, 4:50 New Zealand time to hear the outcome, the winners from the regional final. So thanks so much for your presentation. We'll see you later on.
Thanks so much for the time. Thank you.
Welcoming Team 8, ID 368. We've got Amandi, Devanja, Sharana, and Ivy. So they're just entering now. I'll just wait a little bit longer. Just a reminder, you will have 10 minutes for your presentation, followed by a few minutes for questions. We will let you know when you've got 2 minutes to go, so please keep your chat open. That is how we will let you know about your 2 minutes. Same with 30 seconds. We'll give you another reminder with 30 seconds to go, and then if you go over time, I will cut you off. So please stick to your time. Can I please get thumbs up from your team that you're ready to go? Sweet, and you're ready to start in 3, 2, 1, good luck.
Liberate humanity through technology. But what does this mean? We've identified the potential in ACSL and are proud today to announce our solutions. My name is Sharana, and alongside me today are my colleagues, Devanga, Imani, and Ivy. And today we will be presenting our pitch. We'll commence with an overview and highlight the mitigations associated with the risks of an expansion. Devanga and Ivy will then propose our 4 key solutions for long-term profitability, which includes marketing, how to expand to Australia and India, a new subscription model, and increased investment in R&D. We are confident that with these proposed solutions, ACSL will be able to be successfully launched into the global market. Next slide.
Strengths. ACSL is at the forefront of drone technologies and have a well-established base within Japan. They provide a unique point of difference in the commercial drone market through its customization and cutting-edge autonomous control technologies, enabling them to dominate global markets. Weaknesses. We've recognized that ACSL's relatively minimal international presence has restricted their ability to expand globally. That, in addition to a lack of sales generated in steps 3 and 4, has caught our attention. Opportunities. ACSL can take advantage of China's fractured relationships with other nations and gain market share over major Chinese drone competitors. And threats. The presence of many well-established drone companies such as DJI, Kesbury, and Unique may pose as a threat to ACSL. Next slide.
Of course, there are several risks associated with global expansion that ACSL must consider. Entering an unknown market, they will likely be exposed to political instability and cultural barriers. Failure to understand these foreign markets can lead to financial losses, yet excessive attention to profits may compromise the quality of their services and decrease consumer satisfaction. To mitigate these risks, we propose to establish an international divisions team. This team would be responsible for reviewing client databases to maintain strong connections with existing clients, as well as analyzing and understanding key characteristics of potential markets, such as local culture and regulation. Next slide.
The first step in identity sustainability is effective marketing, getting ACSL's name and quality technology out into the global market. Expanding global reach. The key to success in expanding globally is entering promising industries that have reason to increase investment into drones. Long-term relations. Contracting and subscriptions creates a greater potential for returning clients and consistent revenue streams. And lastly, extending product range through partial standardization will improve the affordability of our products, and increasing R&D expenditure will also help ACSL to cater to numerous industries. Next slide.
How can ACSL enhance their global presence? Demonstrations. To showcase the quality of the technology, ACSL can send personal invitations to target potential clients for private demonstrations held at their headquarters. Conferences. They can attend tech exhibitions, seminars, and conferences to increase brand awareness and network with industry specialists. Advertising. Japan has built its reputation for their high quality and reliable products and services, which ACSL can capitalize upon. Growing security concerns over Chinese drone companies provides ACSL with the opportunity to increase market share over Chinese competitors such as DJI. Partnerships. In order to expand their networks, we recommend that ACSL partners with emergency services, other firms, and diplomatic channels to increase their global presence. Next slide.
Our second solution is our global expansion strategy. We've identified 3 key steps ACSL should take. The first is to establish an international divisions team responsible for overlooking international operations. The key to success is to carefully identify potential clients and industries. As mentioned before, this team will focus on analyzing foreign markets and mitigating the risk of expansion. They can also utilize current stakeholders to build networks with local governments or other enterprises to support sales growth. We suggest that strengthening diversity amongst employees will also improve their ability to penetrate into foreign markets. In our next step, we recommend that ACSL increase promotional activities by implementing the various marketing strategies as mentioned in our first solution. The final process is for ACSL to establish themselves internationally. This involves reaching out to potential clients, setting up offices overseas, and forming partnerships. Next slide.
We have identified the Asia-Pacific region as the most ideal area for expansion. Despite North America currently being the largest market for drones, projections by Drone Eyes show that Asia will overtake them by 2022. And as can be seen on the map, the highest growth in the drone market is expected to occur within this region. A lack of dominant players also makes the Asia-Pacific region easy to expand into. Next slide.
Australia is an ideal market for ACSL to expand into due to the lack of competition, similar time zones, favourable political relations, and growing demand for commercial drones, particularly in the agricultural and mining sectors. According to the United Nations Comtrade database, Australia is the #1 global exporter of iron ore and will greatly benefit from ACSL's GPS-denied technologies. Global data identified that drone use for monitoring and inspection, as well as automatic surveying and mapping, were becoming increasingly popular due to its ability to save mining companies of up to 90% of the cost per hour. Projections suggest the agricultural sector is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 31.1% globally. QBE Insurance reported that Australian farmers are increasingly investing into drones to enhance efficiency, with drone leasing becoming increasingly popular. Natural disasters in Australia most commonly include bushfires, droughts, and floods. ACSL can collaborate with Australian emergency services and form partnerships with organisations like Ripper Alliance to employ their technology. Next slide.
ACSL should expand into India. Why so? India is the fastest growing drone market in the world, increasing in size exponentially, accounting for 20% of global drone markets. Disaster relief. According to the National Institute of Disaster Management, India is one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world, with 85% of natural disasters impacting India's land. This makes India an ideal location for ACSL to implement their state-of-the-art disaster relief technology. Infrastructure. As seen in the graph, infrastructure is currently the largest market in India for drone-powered solutions, and they plan to spend an additional $1.4 trillion on infrastructure from 2019 to 2023. This provides a clear opportunity for them to expand their infrastructure inspection client base. Next slide.
We cannot forge a sustainable future without ensuring long-term relationships and sales. We propose to offer 3 to 5 year contracts with clients, as well as subscriptions for them to trial our products. But why? Over the past few years, it can be identified that there was a significant decrease in sales from steps 2 to 3, with the 80 million decrease from 2019 to 2020. To address this, we propose to offer contracts at a discounted price to entice customers to continue on to step 3. This will increase repeat customers, which is crucial for long-term sustainability. ACSL's current GPM is 63%, which, as evidenced in these graphs, is much higher than past performance and the industry average of 50 to 60%. Therefore, ACSL should reduce their markup and be confident that sacrificing short-term losses will allow for long-term gains. Next slide.
We are confident that ACSL will be able to absorb any short-term losses due to its liquidity. The working capital ratio and the balance sheet highlight the scope of the business to partake in increased R&D expenditure. This will increase innovations in our proposed industries, increasing their revenue earning capacity. Furthermore, ACSL should adopt a 20/80 model. So 20% of the product range should be standardized, while 80% remains customized, so they still hold the point of difference. Currently, ACSL is only producing 5 drones a month, when it has the capacity to produce 30 to 50. By standardizing 20% of drones, ACSL will be able to take advantage of economies of scale, reducing the cost of production. These low-cost options will cater for differences in the purchasing power within the Asian market. With our proposed solutions, ACSL should be able to increase net sales by 150% by 2022, increasing from 1.2 billion yen to 3 billion yen, and will happily elaborate upon further questioning. Next slide. More than profit, ACSL is about providing solutions, and that is how they liberate humanity through technology. Through our proposed solutions, ACSL will be able to penetrate the global market in a sustainable manner. Thank you for your time, and we now open the floor to a Q&A session.
Great, thanks team. We'll pass over to the judges now.
Thanks very much for your engaging presentation, well thought through and researched. I had a question just around, you identified marketing as a key solution. So I think that's a great identification there. Also, similarly, an international divisions team is also very important, but both of those solutions can be quite costly. So I just wanted to know how, what the impact of those solutions are in terms of the overall P&L and the overall feasibility assessment.
I'll answer that. So as I mentioned before, ACSL is projected to increase the net sales by 150% through our proposed solutions. So we understand that we will be increasing our marketing expenses, potentially by 20%, 10 to 20% in fact. But this is crucial in order to increase net sales. Marketing is an important expense, and by increasing our marketing expenses, this will lead to increased net sales. But we also hope to cater for this by reducing our operating expenses. So by standardizing 20% of the product range, as mentioned before, they'll be able to reduce, improve the expense control and reduce the operating expenses potentially by 15%. And this will allow them to increase the net sales. As also mentioned in our speech, currently Acsl has a really good liquidity stance by looking at the balance sheet and through the working capital ratio and debt ratio. So they will be able to absorb any short-term losses. And by increasing marketing expenses, this will increase our customer base and this will just increase net profit and net sales in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. You identified entering unknown markets as one of the possible risks, which I absolutely agree with given the challenges of culture and language and regulation. I'm interested to hear what you would do to mitigate the risk posed by that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. So we'll aim to mitigate the risk of entering unknown markets through our international divisions team. So one of the main risks for expansion is the fact that when you're entering unknown markets, you're prone to cultural barriers and political instability. So having this, having our international divisions team prior to expansion will allow us to properly research all the regulations, the culture within our markets to ensure that the markets that we are entering will allow for us to successfully expand and increase our profits.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. We've run out of time for any more questions. So thank you very much for your presentation. We'll see you back here at 2:50 Australian time, 4:50 New Zealand time for the results, the outcome of the final two that are going to the global finals. So thank you very much for your presentation. We'll see you later on this afternoon.
Thank you so much for your time.
And welcome to Team 9, ID number 503. We have Elliot, Jimin and Samuel here. It looks like we have the team joining. We'll just wait a couple minutes or so. So just a reminder to your team, you will have 10 minutes for your presentation followed by some question time. The question time will be around about 4 minutes, so keep your answers concise, then you'll get more questions to fit in. You will have a reminder during your presentation when you have 2 minutes left. Please keep the chat open so you can see when this is sent through. You will also get a reminder at 30 seconds left as well. After that, when the 10 minutes is up, and if you're still talking, I'll have to cut you off. So please keep to the time. Best of luck. Can I get a thumbs up that you're ready to go? Awesome. Okay, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Okay. My name is Elliot Lowe, and these are my colleagues, Jimin So and Samuel Wong. We are students in Auckland, New Zealand. The outline of our pitch is as follows. I will be covering the issue diagnostic, further analysis of the issue, and the international market analysis. My colleague Samuel will then talk about the market potential of our chosen country for international expansion, the penetration strategy, and further analysis of that. My third colleague Jimin will then talk about the implementation timeline, the financial details, and a summary. I will now move on to our executive summary. We recommend streamlining ACSL's production process as this is a major roadblock to their goal of international expansion. We have identified India as the ideal international market to expand to, in addition to the existing work they do in the United States and Singapore. We see India as the ideal starting point given their huge global market share of commercial drone imports, increasing government support of drones, and a booming economy prior to the devastating pandemic, of course. According to a report by EY, India is an emerging market for drones poised to be a world leader. And we believe ACSL should jump in early so as to reap the rewards of a rapidly developing country of 1.35 billion people. We recommend penetrating the Indian market with a strategic partnership with Skylark Drones and establishing themselves as a dominant player in the mining and infrastructure sectors in India. This will enable them to provide a value-added product of both software and hardware with Skylark's existing clients such as Indian conglomerate Tata Steel. This plan will work favorably for ACSL as a Japanese company, given Japan's positive diplomatic relationships with India. Next slide, please. Issue diagnostic. The key issue to ACSL's global expansion is a production process that can't keep up with explosive global growth in the drone industry. We see clear growth and strong performance as demonstrated in ACSL's financial data with steps 1 and 2 of their 4-step production process. They saw 194.7% year-on-year growth in this area of their business. On the other hand, revenue growth is an abysmal minus 20.7% for steps 3 and 4 of their business model. This demonstrates a suboptimal conversion rate from steps 1 and 2 to steps 3 and 4, which will hinder their ability to mass produce for an overseas expansion. Next slide, please. So further analysis of the issue. A major aspect of ACSL's business is the customizability they offer their clients. Therefore, we don't want to radically change this aspect. We instead want to focus on minimizing customizability in the international expansion to streamline the production and enable a more rapid penetration of the Indian market. So as we said, we have identified India as the optimal starting point for ACSL's expansion. We recommend a focus on region-specific and industry-specific expansion and continuing their business-to-business operation with commercial drones with no consumer or government expansion. Next slide, please. Now for the international market analysis. My colleagues and I have considered a wide range of countries, from emerging African economies such as Rwanda and Ethiopia, Southeast Asian giants such as Malaysia and Indonesia, and the Americas. We concluded that these countries would have the greatest potential and analyzed which one is the best, showing India as a clear winner. We have also included the United States, despite them already having operations there, to demonstrate the potential of an Indian expansion strategy compared to the US. India has experienced staggering growth in the drone industry since the government began its Digital Sky project and deregulation of the drone industry a few years ago. I'll now invite my second speaker, Samuel, to continue our presentation with the next slide.
Good afternoon. We believe that there's a large potential for the Indian drone market. We've divided this into 4 subsections. The first of all being India being the current larger importer of drones in the world. As such, displaying them being a large market for ACSL to potentially expand into. Secondly, there's large growth in the Indian economy overall, of around 8% GDP year on year. As companies begin adopting drone technology in India, we believe that ACSL is poised to enter the market and immediately capture market share from the existing players in the country. Thirdly, there are a variety of different industries in India that fit well into ACSL's current product offerings, such as in mining and infrastructure. Lastly, DJI, currently the largest manufacturer of drone technologies in the world, currently having around 70% market share in the world, is poised to exit the market due to regulation disputes with the Indian government. As such, we see ACSL's expansion into India being a great choice for them to have. Next slide, please. We have created a 3-pronged strategy for ACSL to enter the Indian market. First of all, is establishing strategic partnerships. How we will do this is having a partnership with Skylark Drones, which is an India-based manufacturer of drones. We believe that having a strategic partnership will allow ACSL to quickly accelerate their growth in India and once again beat out the existing competitors already in the market. Secondly, we believe targeting the mining sector is greatly beneficial. This is due to the fact that India already has a current large mining base and is currently starting to adopt drone technologies specifically. As such, we believe that ACSL should establish a base in Jamshedpur in the northwest of the country. Thirdly, targeting the Indian infrastructure sector. As India is currently one of the largest growing economies, both in size of financials and in terms of population, we believe that infrastructure will continue to grow at around a 15% clip year on year. Benefit the country, and there's large potential for growth as well. Next slide, please. This is a further analysis of the strategies we've outlined. So first of all, Skylark Drones. Skylark Drones is one of the top India startups of drones in the country, and currently their base is located in Bangalore, the tech hub of India. As such, we believe that ACSL should have their HQ base in India, located in Bangalore, that will again quickly facilitate growth. They also have established partnerships with large conglomerates such as Tata Steel, and believe that ACSL can quickly latch on to these and again continue to grow. Second and thirdly, mining and infrastructure. As seen, the uses of mining infrastructure in terms of drones are very similar, such as in terms of mapping. As we can see, through economies of scale, we believe that ACSL can quickly grow their company and once again, increase the conversion rate of step 1 and 2 to step 3 and 4 in order to increase their revenue overall. I will now pass it on to the slideshow on to my colleague Jimin. The next slide, please.
So by 2021, ACSL should create a compelling value-added product of both software and hardware by securing a strategic partnership or acquisition of Skylark drones. In addition, we propose that ACSL establish offices in Bangalore, the tech hub of India, which is also where Skylark is located, as well as Jamshedpur, a key mining city where companies such as Tata Steel are located. In 2024, given that positive growth according to our timeline occurs, we propose establishing production facilities in Bangalore in time to capture the rapidly accelerating Indian drone market. And by 2026, we hope that ACSL will have secured a large 25% share of the Indian drone market. At this point, we suggest ACSL consider penetrating into other markets with similar industrial makeup of mining and infrastructure, such as Australia. In the long term, ACSL would become a leading player in the B2B drone manufacturing market. Next slide, please. Looking at ACSL's earning forecast, it is clear that we're going to see exponential growth with year-on-year compound annual growth rate of 61.5%, and ACSL's customer acquisition is projected to increase by 30% year-on-year. Factoring in the growth rate of the Indian drone market, according to a recent report by EY, Indian expansion is projected to account for 20% of 48 billion yens of ACSL's entire projected revenues for the fiscal year of 2026. This translates to over 800 new clients added to ACSL's base by 2026 due to Indian expansion. Next slide, please. For streamlining the production, our product offerings will be streamlined to mining and infrastructure specific drones, improving productive efficiency and allowing us to reach economies of scale through mass production. The Indian market is prime for disruption, and in all metrics, we've seen that a strong sustained growth in the commercial sectors makes India a very intuitive choice for international expansion. Furthermore, the unique value-added package of cohesive software and superior hardware will be sure to meet clients' desire for a unified package. This would further set us apart from the existing competition. Next slide, please. Sorry. So, continuing our summary. And in summary, the streamlined production process, strategic penetration of Indian mining and infrastructure industries, as well as value-added project through a partnership or acquisition of Skylark, will put ACSL in a truly prime position to capture the imminent exponential drone market. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to open the floor up to questions. I'll pass over to the judges.
David here. Skylark. Now, looking up Skylark, I see it's a startup with 32 employees, and it's ranked number 10, the lowest of the top 10 of the startups in the drone area in India. Why did you choose to go with Skylark, and what is it giving you? What is it giving you that's going to make it advantageous for you in the Indian market?
Yeah, so we believe that Skylark is currently a fast-growing company. It currently focuses on software, and we believe that it's already has contracts with conglomerates such as Tata Steel, which is focuses on both the infrastructure and the mining sectors of the Indian market. So we believe that having a strategic partnership with them or / acquisition will allow ACSL to quickly grow. In addition to this, their current HQ is located in Bangalore, which is the tech hub of India, and most of the other companies aren't located there. So we believe that having the ability to work with other manufacturers in India, in Bangalore, will allow ACSL to quickly accelerate their growth and capture market share at a very high rate, beating out the competitors.
Well done. Congratulations on your presentation, by the way.
I had a bit of a similar question. First of all, thank you very much for a very compelling presentation, well researched. I think you articulated really well the reason for ACSL wanting to partner with Skylark, but what I'm really interested in is if this is a partnership proposition, what's in it for Skylark? Why would Skylark want to partner with ACSL?
So Skylark Drones is providing really excellent software, especially in regards to mapping for commercial uses. And although ACSL also has software offerings, we have mostly specialized in manufacturing. And so as a result, we have really superior manufacturing quality. So by partnering with Skylark or acquiring Skylark, we would be seeing the amalgamation, and we'll be creating a really high value product of both cohesive software and superior hardware. And this would allow us to really create a very unique and high value product that is sure to capture large swaths of the Indian drone market.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Just one question from me. You identified mining as a key sector in industry. Did you give, in India, did you give any consideration to the agricultural sector?
Yeah, thank you. Really good question. Yep, so we actually gave consideration to a large number of sectors such as agriculture and insurance. However, what we identified as infrastructure and mining actually have some really similar use cases in terms of how those drones can be implemented to clients, so such as surveying and site management. So therefore, we believe this will be a really nice combination, whereas agriculture in India is a little bit more of a complicated industry to enter, and the use case is not quite as cohesive as the infrastructure and mining combination is.
Furthermore, just to add on to my colleague Elliot, a lot of farms in India are very small, such as subsistence farming that happens, and therefore they are not large enough to be able to afford these very expensive drones. So for developing economies such as India, the prime industries for targeting and penetration, it's clear that we should be looking into mining and infrastructure.
Thank you.
Awesome, thanks team. Great to fit in a few questions. Thank you very much for your presentation. We'll see you back here at 2:50 Australia time, 4:15 New Zealand time for the reveal of the 2 finalists who came out on top for this competition. So great to see you, great for your presentation. We'll see you later on this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Now we're welcoming Team 10. So the final team for today, which is really exciting, we've got, their ID is 260. We've got Isabel, Jasmine, Jacqueline, and Maggie. So welcome Team 10, final one for today. Thank you for being patient. And just a reminder for your presentation, you will have 10 minutes. You will receive a 2-minute reminder in the chat. So please keep your chat open. When you have 2 minutes left to go, we will message you to let you know. We will also message you when you have 30 seconds left as well. If you do go over time, I will start talking to cut you off. So please keep to the time, and you'll have time for questions afterwards, which will be around a few minutes. So can we get a thumbs up that your team is here and you're ready to go? Awesome. Okay, you can start in 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
People in the past predicted that in 2020, us humans will be flying with wings, and that is obviously not the case right now. However, the best next thing we have are drones. These unmanned aerial vehicles are revolutionary. By simply setting a pre-planned route, these vehicles will straight go to their destination. And this is where ACSL comes in, an established drone company that have been solving problems in society through the use of technology. Next slide, please.
Through an analysis of ACSL's financial position and fiscal year report, we have come to the conclusion that they do not have a balanced ratio of 1-to-1 on their business model. They have identified new clients progressing into steps 1 and 2, consultation and planning, but do not follow through into steps 3 and 4, where the actual production of drones occur.
We formed the conclusions of the key issue being client relationships aren't sustainable, branching into 2 sub-issues, not producing at maximum capacity and not advancing globally. These 2 branches have limited the productivity of ACSL, as well as hindering the opportunities against other competing drone companies. We see this as a substantial issue for ACSL rising to become a global leading drone company in the current market. Next slide.
With the rise in demand for commercial drones and fast evolving technology, there are many opportunities for ACSL to take on. However, because of the competition in the market today, it is crucial that ACSL have points of differentiation. We have identified DJI, a Chinese drone company, as ACSL's biggest competitor, as they currently hold the greatest market share at 74%. Next slide.
Now, with this being said, we have identified the 3 unique points of differentiation for ACSL, the first being a personal experience. With ACSL drones being customizable, it enables these drones to be tailored into what the customer needs. Secondly, ACSL uses advanced technology, and so each client's vision can come into reality and into life. And thirdly, as ACSL has the 4-step business scheme, this makes it less of a commitment for each client who approaches a new idea. Now, we understand that most of these advantages are imitable. However, they still give the benefit to ACSL as it provides them the potential to expand globally as long as they act fast. ACSL can increase their exposure in the market with this head start. Next slide.
In today's business world, it is easy to get swept up in self-success or profitability, as many companies begin to stray away from what's ethical or what's sustainable. That's why our first solution is to work in partnership with the non-profit organization, the International Fund for Agricultural Development. We want to incorporate this to make ACSL stand out on the global drone market with having a corporate social responsibility.
This partnership will give ACSL a step further towards global expansion and international recognition, as IFAD has projects around the world. As a matter of fact, they have contributed $7.5 billion USD in 2019 alone for projects targeted at the agricultural sector. IFAD is willing to partner with the private sector, and as they currently do not have any drone companies working with them, ACSL can seize this opportunity. Because technology is improving, demand for drones will increase, thus allowing ACSL to maximize their production capability. Next slide.
So, how do we approach this partnership with IFAD? Well, first off, we need to understand the needs for drones in the agricultural industry. For example, agriculture accounts for 70% of water use in the whole world. So with a drone with infrared cameras can target specific areas that need water instead of having to water the whole field. Drones can be implemented in a variety of ways. The possibilities are endless, and with ACSL's drones being customizable, they are able to work around each nation's needs for drones. Next.
Working closely with IFAD, agriculture sectors can work more productively and efficiently. This partnership is beneficial for both parties, since the increase in revenue allows ACSL to undergo further business expansion. In the long term, a partnership with IFAD, who currently has 203 ongoing projects, could be the key to global success. In the long run, because of this, it is highly unlikely that they will run out of business, improving ACSL's sense of security and therefore business confidence. Next slide.
Another solution we have envisioned is partnering with Indonesia's leading drone distributor, Halo Robotics. Halo Robotics sells drones for a variety of industries, including agriculture, construction, search and rescue, and much more. Halo Robotics works with many companies in Indonesia, as seen by the logos on our slide, which will increase ACSL's potential client relationships. This provides ACSL a greater exposure to the public, as well as a foundation to start expanding globally. Next slide.
So, as a distributor, Halo Robotics acts as the middleman, providing a wide range of connections with Indonesian companies that have an interest in drones. This will allow ACSL to form more client relationships and increase their revenue streams from steps 3 and 4. Because Halo Robotics sells competitor drones too, these companies could make it more difficult for ACSL. However, being customizable will reduce the impact of this competition.
Now, another edge ACSL has is a product that they will be launching soon, the Air Slider. Now, considering the poor drainage system in Indonesia, this can be used by ACSL as a leverage to improve their market exposure. Now, ACSL will have this leverage, and therefore working with Halo Robotics enables ACSL to publicize their company and unleash their potential of being able to work in a free environment. Because Japan, where they originally came from, is a well-developed country, and Indonesia, where they are planning to go, which we suggest, is still a developing country. Next slide.
With Indonesia's diverse culture and infrastructure being vastly different to those in the US and Singapore, this gives ACSL an opportunity to showcase the ability to provide for these businesses. By integrating the pest analysis into our research, this supports our vision to expand into Indonesia. First of all, Indonesia is one of the fastest growing economies in the world today, with their population increasing approximately by 3 million each year. They need to quickly develop infrastructure in order to keep up with this demand. Distributing with Halo Robotics with Indonesia allows ACSL to further expand into Southeast Asia. With this current day, technology is developing, and we can see a potential higher demand for drones in Indonesia due to their improving country.
Secondly, there are few competitors in the Indonesian market. Even though there may be many competitors within Halo Robotics, but in Indonesia as a whole, we see ACSL has the potential to independently expand once they have established relationships with companies in Indonesia. From the social aspect, drones are becoming more popular for consumer and commercial use. They provide benefits in many sectors, as drones can be incorporated as a tool to increase productivity. Thirdly, Indonesia and Japan have a peaceful relationship, with Japan being Indonesia's largest export partner. This reduces the likelihood of politics disrupting trade between both countries. Additionally, with the global economical downturn that has resulted from COVID-19, significant trade interventions have transpired. Next slide.
Of course, not every solution would be completely flawless. Thus, we have considered the risk and the solutions we do bring. Firstly, when working with IFAD, rural residents will most likely have little experience with technology and are not familiar with drone use. To overcome this, IFAD will need to provide training to ensure drones can be introduced smoothly as a beneficial addition to agriculture. Another risk is that IFAD may not invest in ACSL's drones in the long term, as there might be other alternatives to getting across. We would have to ensure a contract is created and agreed by both parties to understand the positive effects that drones actually are able to bring once incorporated into the agricultural sector.
Now, doing business with Halo Robotics could also result in miscommunication between both businesses due to culture and language barriers. We understand and we believe that both cultures must be integrated and taken into consideration through the open communication, and agreements can be signed to guarantee this. Now, Halo Robotics and ACSL may also have contradicting ambitions due to the difference in their company culture, resulting in ineffective decision-making processes. Therefore, both companies must hold meetings regularly to improve relations between two parties. Next slide.
We have created an ideal timeline for the outlook we have with the partnership with IFAD and progressing into Indonesia with Halo Robotics. We see ourselves in the future to be in a world where drones are implemented in many aspects of our life, as well as becoming a tool to benefit many sectors globally.
This brings us back to our key issue, client relationships not being sustainable. With more firms realizing the benefits of investing into drones in the long run, we can ensure that clients will be committed. Ultimately, ACSL will be able to mass produce drones in the near future. And once we gain greater recognition in Southeast Asia, we can extend our global expansion, all which helps us to resolve our identified issue.
Henceforth, ACSL will bring future ideologies into today and present realities. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Tam. We'll pass over to the judges for a few questions.
Thanks very much for that. Really enjoyed that presentation. Particularly, I liked your ideas around the not-for-profit partnerships and the CSR spotlight as well. Overall, could you please outline a little bit more about how will you know that you're successful with this solution? What are some of your key performance indicators?
Well, so with reading the analysis that we've had, it was stated there through the financial aspect of financial reports that most of their revenue comes from step 1 and 2. We have taken into consideration, and we believe that measuring success will be measured once we've known that the revenue that we get actually comes from steps 3 and 4, and the money that we get increases from steps 3 and 4, but maintains in steps 1 and 2.
Yes, because as step 3 and 4 is more producing, like with mass producing drones. So once we are able to gain more revenue, we can see that our company, ACSL, will be doing well.
Hi, David here. Well done. Can you just talk me through, is this a three-way arrangement between ACSL, Halo and IFAD, or is this a partnership of ACSL and Halo doing a contract with IFAD. Can you just give me how this is structured, this relationship?
How we want to, Jackie, okay, I'll go. How we want to approach this is we want to approach this with IFAD to expand globally. That would be like not only Southeast Asia, but that could go into Europe. And we see that they have 203 ongoing projects right now, and that like ranges from Africa, say Southeast Asia. So that's a partnership with IFAD itself. So that goes into globally. While on the other hand is Halo Robotics, where this focuses solely into Indonesia, where we see this as a really good place to expand, so we can go further into Southeast Asia. So these will be separately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One quick question from me. Thank you very much for the presentation. Just in respect of IFAD, they do sound like a great partner for ACSL. I'm interested, I can see the value proposition for ACSL. What's in it for IFAD to enter into this partnership?
Well, as mentioned earlier, ACSL has very advanced technology into their drones, and these technology can make the work for IFAD much better and much productive, because we will offer technology that will help with agriculture projects, like what we've mentioned a while ago with infrared lighting with the water, and that will be the sole benefit of IFAD with the partnership with ACSL.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any final questions? We do have another 30 seconds or so if there is one more quick question.
No, I've got all I need.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, team. Great presentation, and thanks for the answers to the questions as well. As you're the final team, I believe the judges are now going to go into a breakout room to do their deliberations. So Edith, do you want to place them in the breakout room now, and they can begin the discussions? Team 10, if you want to take a break for a couple minutes, we'll be waiting for people to come in to the room to join us. We will have a little bit of a presentation, so feel free to stick around. Keep the cameras on as well so you can see who else the other teams are. But Edith will wait for you to put the judges in the breakout room. Hey, if everybody can please mute themselves for the minute while we're letting everybody in. Feel free to keep your cameras on. It's lovely to see everybody here. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. We've got a couple of presentations from our sponsors. If we've got time, we'll do a quick quiz while we wait for the judges to deliberate. We will hear the winners of today's competition very, very shortly. But before we go on, I'd just love to say a huge congratulations and thank you to everybody who is here today. There were 10 teams that presented today, and they were incredible. Watched all of them. There were some that were very similar, some that were very unique, and the judges definitely did their homework as well. There are some very difficult questions asked, and there were some people on mute, so if you did start talking, you were on mute. You were not the only one. I think that was a key quote from today, is you're on mute when you first start, but that's okay. Congratulations on your presentations, the quality of them, the research behind them, and the enthusiasm that came forth in every single team. So once again, congratulations. ANZ was the biggest region for this. We had hundreds of students who registered, and we'll soon find out who is going to represent ANZ in the global final. So once again, thank you to our sponsors. We have had, the competition is powered by Crimson. We had PwC as our principal sponsor. Obviously, Tiger Global Management I have been working with the competition as well. And then finally, you'll hear from another sponsor very, very shortly, which is Acsl. So first we'll hear from Crimson, and then we'll pass over to them. So I'll pass over to Andrew from Crimson Education.
Thanks so much, guys. Congratulations, all of you, for putting in the effort, putting in the research in such a quick turnaround time as well. I was super impressed with the quality of everyone. And as you already know me, I was the timer slide guy, so nice to meet all of you. And I'll just give a quick talk on the Crimson Education side. So Crimson Education is one of the primary sponsors of TGCC, and we're an edutech company that supports students who are looking to study over in the US and the UK predominantly, but also in Europe as well. And we've been supporting students, thousands of students for years now, achieve their dreams and go to their dream university. We've got offices from around the world. We're not just based in Australia and New Zealand. We have offices in Vietnam, America, Brazil. Basically, we've got a plant on an office or somewhere or other around the world. So we're a global company with over 2,400 tutors and mentors, over 250 full-time staff, and we've supported over 20,000 students over the years with our expert staff who have been former admissions officers or experts in their admissions field. But we're not just known for our US and UK application support, we're also known for other things as well through our partnerships. So we're partnered with MedView. MedView helps with medical school applications in your local school. So if you're looking to go into med school in Australia and New Zealand, that can be supported through MedView. We've also got some tuition companies we partner with, such as EduExperts and Numberworks and Words. And this year, we just launched our first online high school, teaching international A levels by world-class teachers, and basically giving students the opportunity to upskill themselves, learn other courses and subjects that they would not learn in their standard curriculum, basically to upskill them and get them more internationally aware. And we're super excited about CGA. Another thing as well that we help support a lot of students with, especially in Australia, is Crimson Athletics. A lot of students who are very predominant or play at a national or state level in athletics and are looking to participate in an athletic scholarship or an athletic pathway to the US. We've supported thousands of students with that as well. In terms of our student results over the years, you can see we've supported many students to the Ivy League, as well as Oxford and Cambridge as well. Now, not only this, we've exposed students to thousands of top 50 US universities and just under 700 top UK universities as well. So if you're looking to study to the US or the UK, feel free to drop onto our website and drop a consult form. We offer free one-on-one consults to basically guide you on the right path to set yourself to a top uni admission. Other things as well, we do have a YouTube channel and a blog. The YouTube channel has heaps of resources if you want to learn about what life is like overseas. We have a lot of our Crimson students who've gone through us and are living over campus right now, including those who have shipped over in 2020. So just to learn about what life is like on universities abroad, and also other resources too on our blog, such as how to use your ATAR to apply overseas and other things to give you tips and tricks to help with your application. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you to Crimson Education for the support during TGCC competition. Now, would like to turn it over to Anna and Simran from our fantastic regional TGCC 2020 sponsor, ESSEC Business School.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jamie, for the warm introduction. I am Anik from ESSEC Business School, based in Singapore. We are very pleased to partner with Crimson over the Tiger Global Case Competition. And thank you also to Kerry, Phoebe, and Kevin for the support. And congrats to the team for organizing such a successful event. Now to all the student participants, congratulations for taking part in this exciting initiative. The qualifying teams will be mentored by our students, Newfell and Clara. So now let me share more about ESSEC Business School and the opportunities that we offer. Next slide, please. So we have been nurturing generations of global business leaders since 1907. Next slide, please. So when you join ESSEC, you will study at our beautiful campuses in France, in Singapore, and Morocco. Next slide, please. We have been in Singapore since 2005 at the invitation of the Singapore government. And in 2015, we set up our campus with sophisticated facilities at One North. Some of you may be familiar with Singapore. One North is the Silicon Valley of Singapore. Next slide, please. And every year, we are very pleased to welcome 1,000 students at our Singapore campus across all programs. Next slide, please. So we enjoy an excellent reputation globally, as per our Financial Times rankings and our QS World University rankings. We are also very proud to hold the Triple Crown accreditation, AACSB, AQUIS, and AMBA. This is held by only the top 1% of business schools globally. Next slide, please. Now, about our global BBA, we are #1 in France. When you join our program, you gain significant professional experience. All our students do at least 10 months of global internship. To prepare you to be global business leaders, you do at least one semester of exchange at our partner universities. Plus, you also study at our global campuses. So you could start your studies in Singapore, then in year 2 you go to Morocco, in year 3 you do your exchange, and in year 4 you go to France. So this means that you will have lived in 4 countries. You decide where and when to study. And to help you, we offer language courses, business English, French, and another language of your choice. Next slide, please. Now, at ESSEC, you can look forward to a vibrant student life. At the Singapore campus, we have about 30 student associations. Next slide, please. So whether you're interested in arts, in sports, in community service, there's something for everyone. Next slide, please. Now, I would like to invite Simran. Simran is our year 4 student. She's very passionate about finance, and she has interned at Landmark Group Dubai, and now she is completing her internship at Alliance Bernstein, Singapore. Simran, would you like to share your experience?
Yeah, hi, my name is Simran Hatimani, as Anik just mentioned. I'm a final year student at ESSEC APAC campus. So I was born and brought up in Calcutta in India, and I'm currently based in Singapore and I'm working here. I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to tell you a bit about my own journey at ESSEC. So I joined ESSEC back in 2017, and what really attracted me at the time was the flexibility and the dynamism of the course, as well as its balance between academics, exposure, and practical experience. So till now, I've pursued 6 internships, and I'm currently undertaking my 7th one in equity sales at Alliance Bernstein, as Anik mentioned. So ESSEC's career services really helped me a lot with that in procuring these internships. So I went through multiple rounds of CV checks, mock interviews, just dialogues with career services, and that sort of helped me to hone and practice my skills for interviewing. And ESSEC also has a very extensive alumni network. And so I would often reach out to the alumni contacts working in the companies for a coffee chat. And I think that this really helped a lot because it showed that I was not just concerned with the internship, but I was also wanting to learn more about the company, its people, and it showed that I was willing to go the extra mile and take an initiative to find common people in the organization. So while at ESSEC, I was also able to fulfill some of my life goals, like graduating with distinction and being on the Dean's List. And although its academics is very rigorous, it's structured in a way that really helps us to sort of start from scratch and makes learning very easy. So we get to take foundational courses in our first 2 years across a variety of subjects like law, geopolitical factors, marketing, maths, statistics, and there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of coverage of these courses. So and the best part is that it intensifies with each semester. For example, in semester 1, we would be taking a finance level 1 course, and then the next semester it would be level 2 courses. So it really helps you to sort of build from scratch and to go into a direction which you really want to pursue going forward. So when I reflect upon the last 2 years at ESSEC, I realize that some of the main things that have furthered my growth and my development are things that are not really emphasized enough, or in some cases are not even mentioned. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to highlight these things to you. So for example, the small classroom sizes at ESSEC, it really allows the teacher to get to know each individual student's strengths, their weaknesses, and to actually develop bonds that extend beyond just the classroom. And another very important part of the program, according to me, is the compulsory exchange at ESSEC. I find that exchanges are very important because a lot of the time students really get so involved in studying and getting ahead in their career that they forget that a huge part of college is just exploring life and learning to adapt in new environments. And I think this is very crucial and it's a critical part of your growth journey. And I'm really glad that ESSEC focuses on this area as well. Looking back on the past 3 years, I think I honestly have a lot to thank ESSEC for. It's given me a lot of clarity in my thought and so many amazing opportunities to grow. But most of all, I think I would like to thank ESSEC for the amazing memories and the strong friendships that I've built. And I think that those will really last me a lifetime. And I'm enthusiastically looking forward to the next year. And I hope that it'll be even better than the last ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Simran, for sharing your wonderful experience. So these are our mentors who will advise the qualifying teams. Next slide, please. And for further information, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. And of course, all the best to everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anik, and thank you again for being a sponsor for our regional competition. So our judges are back. They have decided the 2 finalists to go through to the global finals. But while we wait, can everyone please turn on their cameras? We'd love to see everybody's faces, and we'll take a very quick screenshot if everybody's okay for a photo to be taken. There's 3 pages of people, so it will take me a few seconds to take a photo, but ready, 3, 2, 1, smile. Cool, we've done number 1. We'll go through the next screen, keep smiling. And then final one, 3, 2, 1. Amazing, great. Thank you, everybody. Keep your cameras on. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Scott, who is going to announce the finalists.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. And just before I do that, can I just say that, and I speak for all the judges when I say that we were really blown away by the quality of the presentations and the solutions that everyone put together today. So I think that all the teams that have made it this far can be very proud of the effort that's gone in. It really shone through in the presentations. And, you know, as someone who does something similar to this for a living, I can say that if that's the way you approach your studies and your professional careers going forward, you're going to go a very long way. So well done to everyone for the effort to get to this far, and the presentations that everyone did today. They were fantastic. And so in terms of the winners then, we have our first and second winners that will be revealed. So congratulations to Team 5. You were our winners today, Luke, Patrick and Richard, and Team 4, Stephanie, Thomas and Tharushi, who came in second. You were both fantastic, as were all our teams, but there has to be a winner at the end. So congratulations to Team 5 and Team 4.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Scott. Congratulations to everybody. Once again, you should all be proud of yourselves for making it to the regional finals. As I said, there are hundreds of students in this competition, right? So making the final 10 is a huge achievement, and congratulations to team number 4 and team number 5. Very exciting stuff for you getting into the global finals. Just briefly, I want to say a big thank you to our judges. They have given up about 3 to 4 hours of their time today to listen to everybody, and they have given all of the teams some feedback and asked some great questions. So if could everybody give a virtual clap for them, we really appreciate your time. Once again, thank you to Crimson Education, who has been backing this competition, to PwC as our primary sponsor, of course, Tiger Global Management, and then also we have ESSEC as well. So congratulations to everybody involved. Thank you to everybody involved. Have a big break, take a big breath, and hopefully there are some celebrations that are going on. We do have a business webinar coming up, and you'll receive an email for that. And in terms of what's next, you'll hear from us soon. So thank you everybody once again. What a brilliant day, brilliant presentations, and congratulations. Bye.